Hello and welcome to Workhorse Wrestling Network. You're gathered with us this fine Saturday morning where we will discuss who was the best this week. This is the Winner's Circle.
Yes, yes. As Sammy said, as always, every Saturday morning, bright and early, 7 a.m. on the Pacific West Coast over here, 10 a.m. on the East Coast, 9 a.m. where Sammy is in the middle of the country. We got every sector of the country here as we do every Saturday morning. We're going to start with Monday Night Raw, and then we'll do NXT, and then we'll do Dynamite. We'll give each show a grade, and then the show with the highest grade at the end will be declared the winner for this week. If you're new to the Workhorse Wrestling Network YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on this video, hit that bell. That's the best way to make sure you get notified every time something goes up on the YouTube channel. If you're with us right now on Twitch, give us a follow over there. If you haven't already, if you're with us on the Clock app, we appreciate you being there. Give us a follow over there as well. Unfortunately, we can't see your chats here on Restream from either the Clock app or the Twitch. So if you come over to the YouTube channel and you want to chat with us, you can interact with us in the live chat. Love to hear from you guys. Love to interact with you, see what you guys think of the show. Our show, the shows we're reviewing, anything you want to talk about Raw, NXT, or Dynamite. Again, love to hear from you guys. So it looks like you might have lost Nika for a minute, but luckily, Sammy Joe usually starts us off with Raw anyhow, and he is here, so we can go ahead and get started, and then Nika will be back when she's back. So without further ado, I guess let's crack into Monday Night Raw.
Well, the show kicked off. Honestly, I'm trying to remember if it was CM Punk or Jey Uso that kicked it off because
It was
both of
CM
those things
Punk.
happened early. It was CM Punk? Okay.
Yeah,
So
because
CM
he
Punk
came in. Yeah, go ahead.
CM Punk came out, he went over to the commentary desk, and he was like, who I got to call out? And I think Pat McAfee said Cena, but CM Punk went after The Rock, talked about, him and his goosebumps and how he doesn't really care about the fans and he thinks he's the biggest star in the industry and he can just come in whenever he wants because he's a part owner of, he's on the board.
Yeah. No, he
It was a fine promo.
Yeah, Mr. Punk was in quite a mood. He skirched into the parking lot in his truck and jumped out and beelined his way to the announce table, and he promptly ripped the thing off the announce table, and then got up there. And yeah, I mean, this isn't like it's not as I guess it's got a different flavor to it, technique wise, to like say the pipe bomb or some of his other more, but it's still that classic CM Punk. I'm frustrated, I'm at the end of my rope. I got to vent promo style to a certain extent, and people love that. And as soon as he came out, people were here for it, and they wanted to hear what he had to say. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't like the guy, but I wanted to hear what he had to say. I was interested in what he was going to say, and he basically said everything that you thought he was going to say, right? I mean, he said Cena was, basically a POS for selling out to The Rock, and that The Rock, like Sammy said, thinks that he's the, bigger than the industry, and that he can just do whatever he wants to do, and that whatever, and that, you know, um, so, and I thought it was fine. Obviously, we'll talk about when we get to Seth Rollins coming out. But what do you think just of CM Punk before Seth Rollins, Anika?
No, this was great. And this is what we needed for the road to WrestleMania. Put your time back there. There we go. WrestleMania. No, yeah. Like literally, it's like okay, limited chamber is gone. We know who's facing who. Let's kick this season off right. And this was a perfect way to kick this season, WrestleMania season off right. And like I said, we knew he was mad solely on Seth Rollins because like now that like it's crazy he didn't get screwed by Seth, but still the whole what you call it the whole predetermined setting this up where the whole like so it's okay in that the end of the Chamber for the men Seth curb stomp CM Punk and John Cena took advantage. So like you can still be kind of mad about it, but then you see the whole thing. It's like, oh, so you really being a douchebag. And like you said, you just need that fire. Because for me, WrestleMania is cool. Right now, I'm like, okay, cool. It's traditional, right? I'm gonna watch it because it's tradition. This actually gave it a little bit more oomph. It's like, all right, I'm a little bit more excited than I was before Chamber. I can definitely say that. So let's get cracking. That's it. Yeah.
No. Jimmy, we're talking about Seth Rollins.
He also called out Cena.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The best
Absolutely.
line, you're gonna make a wish that you like.
Right.
And
Yep.
then it was Seth Rollins.
But it was
Suddenly
just
you
on
talk.
site. It was that's
I was
perfect
like,
because Seth came out and Punk was like, we're not doing well,
no,
it's just on site. Met him in the middle of the ramp and they just fought and fought and fought and fought until essentially they got broken up. I mean, they brawled into the crowd, they brawled basically everywhere. And I mean, that's how it should be, right? I mean, I
right.
get kind of tired of a lot of the talking a lot of the times. Like sometimes it's fun, don't get me wrong, and at the same time, sometimes it just needs to be on site. And for me personally, like the stuff that they're doing right now is really making the match more exciting for me, or enticing for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't really, and I still because I don't really care for either guys a whole lot. I like Seth Rollins in general. I just don't care for his new visionary character, the one that he's been
Yeah.
for this last whatever it is. Um, but I mean, I like him way more than CM Punk. But they've done a really good job of making me, somewhat excited for this match as best they could. So I thought this worked out really well. I was very interested in what was going on here.
And I was talking to my dad, like thinking about it last year. This was supposed to be the main event of night one or whatever, right? And then CM Punk got hurt. So then you have CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in the summer, and it's like, oh, they're never doing stuff. So it is kind of crazy of how like he took a break from it, and seemingly like, it wasn't like you just introverted this match because you wanted to do it. You actually took the time where there we go organically this match between these two are hot again for WrestleMania. And that's kind of crazy how they did that because like I said last year, CM Punk got hurt, so it's like, oh, we're gonna try to stretch it out. The Drew interferes, like, you know what? We don't need this anymore. And then somewhere along the Netflix January happens, and stuff doesn't want to let it go, and bam, organically, yeah, this match should be for Mania. And then one of the great lines of CM Punk, Becky Lynch better get your man before I do. It's like, yes! For the people in the back who thought CM Punk was not himself, like he had, like you said, 2011 CM Punk was a rebel, and it's like, listen. Number one, he's older. Number two, we got more at stake here. Okay, we can't be flying off the handle on everybody because we actually have jobs and stock now. Don't call it what you will, but yes, we actually have to be mindful of what we say so we don't lose. We're more mindful so we don't lose money. So yes, you can't get a pipe bomb every third month. You have to spread that crap out, and this was definitely the time to do it.
Agreed.
And it was announced that next week they will have a steel cage match.
And Madison Square Garden. Yeah.
Yep. All right. What was next?
We had Gunther versus Otis.
Otis seeking some revenge for the choke out of Tozawa last week, I guess. I mean,
seeking revenge. Also, Gunther on the thing of Gunther's also on this tick of you're more like Jay. That's why you're not succeeding. You should be more like me. I'll teach you a lesson inside the ring. That whole thing.
For sure. I thought Otis fared a little bit better than Tozawa. He had a couple decent looking spots, but I still, I mean, I understand that you have to have guys basically around to lose matches and whatever the case may be, but it just seems odd to me when there are some guys that really just never do anything per se or get a nod to do much other than just lose. I mean, Otis has had a couple moments, I guess, in the very beginning, well, on NXT for sure with Tucker. Heavy Machinery had a few moments. And I guess he had a couple moments with Chad Gable, since being on the main roster. But it's just so interesting how some people just are just destined to be those warm bodies that take losses and hopefully look somewhat okay and entertain the crowd in those losses, which I
Mhm.
guess is what you got here. I mean, Otis is big enough and strong enough that he can kind of, match Gunther for size and strength, right? And
Yes.
and a couple of times he kind of threw Gunther around a couple times a little bit, and yet he's still Otis, so he can take the loss, and it is what it is. So, Gunther obviously got the win, right? So,
Tozawa went to save Otis, but it didn't work. He power bombed Tozawa onto Otis, and then was gonna power bomb Otis onto Tozawa. But then Jey Uso comes down, spears Gunther, and then A Town Down come in, and they jump Jey Uso from behind. But Jey Uso was able to take A Town down and out.
Yeah.
which
You
I'm
go first.
curious about, right? Like, because obviously Jay's going to go against Gunther, so I
Sure.
understand why he's out here, doing all that, and I understand why he's got to look strong against A Town Down. Take out you. It makes him look strong. Take out you guys at the same time. Like, how far has Austin Theory fallen? Like, I mean, it is. I mean, I guess
No,
he's.
no.
I mean, they're trying to interject themselves in the main event picture to a certain extent because they both think that they deserve title shots, but like he's getting beat up by one. Him and his partner are getting beat up by one guy. So and it's Jey, so I get it, but at the same time, it's like, okay.
So
But the whole Gunther choking out Jay.
yeah. So so someone said this and you can't ignore it. Whereas like Gunther going up against Alpha Academy kind of makes this a mid card feud, and it's like yes and no because I guess it's your perception, but I can't really argue with that point. To that point, I'm like, okay, we got Gunther beating people who he thinks are acting like Jey Uso. I wish we could have Jey Uso beating a top tier person. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, they're all busy. Like okay, Gunther's trying to beat people. Gunther trying to beat people he think are like Jay. Let Jay be someone who thinks is like Gunther. And it's like it's unfortunately heel wise. There's not a lot of people in that category, which sucks. Because it's like, oh, this story doesn't suck. We just need more important bodies. But CM Punk and Seth are wrapped up in each other. Roman don't know what the freak he is, and it's like everybody who's a top guy is busy. I wish we could. Can we lend one of y'all? Can we lend one of y'all to Jay so we can hype this up just a little bit more? Drew, I know you're on SmackDown, but we still have the portal. Let Jay be Drew so we can, because I think we need to amp up Jay to main event, even though yes, his name is main event insult, but let's call spade a spade. It's barely some main event. We need him to beat someone a little bit bigger than
AJ Styles
I
come
mean,
over to Raw.
But he's a baby face. We don't want him to get. That's what I'm saying. We need more top tier heels. Like him
I hear what
beating
you're saying.
AJ.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
there's not a lot of dudes like Gunther.
No,
There is
there
not. And
definitely
then
isn't.
the other side of it is top heel heels that are Gunther. The heels. Like
I'm afraid the
I'm
closest you're gonna
not.
find would be like a Karrion Cross.
oh God, no. No, that's fine. That's fine.
Not necessarily sure. I mean, I understand the joke or the story about I'm wrestling guys that are like Jey Uso. I'm not. It's not. Let's just say it's not working well for me against a guy like Zawa. It does nothing. Like, first of all, everyone that has eyes and watches wrestling knows that that's a trolling move, and that you versus either of those guys is going to be a squash match. And we get what you're implying, but it's still not fun to watch in the meantime. Like it's not doing anything to make Gunther look more appealing going into this match, in my opinion.
Yeah, like that.
Beating
Like
up
I
on
said.
Tozawa and Otis, like it. Okay.
I'd be more interested if it was like R-Truth.
Or
Yeah, I mean,
let's flip it. You said AJ Styles versus Jay Uso, AJ Styles versus Gunther. Let's
yeah,
do that.
we can do that.
Like,
I mean, I don't think that AJ Styles is like Jey Uso.
he's not. But my main point is we need more people of more prominence in this feud. And unfortunately, either they're on SmackDown or they're on Raw, or they're too busy tied up in each other. But like we said, it's main event it's Mania season. So long one of them suckers on SmackDown over here.
Jey Uso, in my opinion, at least at the moment, is closer to AJ Styles than he is to Tozawa or Otis. I mean, again, I understand the
Yes.
insult, but I'm saying, I mean, he's much closer to an AJ Styles than he is to either of those guys. Like,
Multiple time world champion, one of the greatest to do it, the best wrestler of the 2010s. Like AJ Styles is high caliber. Yeah, he's a little past his prime now, but like he's still
oh no, he's still that dude.
phenomenal.
Let's talk. Exactly.
hopefully, now that he's healthy, they'll start booking him that way again.
Yeah. No. Hopefully, we're still getting him versus Braun Breaker. We're talking about it later, but it's a whole lot of fingers in that pot right now.
All right, what was next?
I have the Women's Intercontinental Champion happening next.
Correct.
Woo!
Lyra Valkyria defeating Ivy Nile.
Which, after beating Dakota Kai, makes sense because I think Dakota Kai beats Ivy Nile, 9 out of 10 times. So if Lyra's beating Dakota Kai, she should be beating Ivy Nile as well. And I guess they're trying to make this run a little bit better and trying to do more to, make Lyra look appealing, which is fine. I like Lyra in NXT. I just haven't been a huge fan of what they've done with her so far on the main roster, but the last two situations have been good. I mean, I was surprised that she got the win over Dakota Kai, but she looked good in doing it. And this is good. Will's talented. I don't know that she's destined for anything more than, a mid-card women's title or a mid-card, spot in the women's roster, but she's a solid wrestler.
Yeah, no, this was actually like we gotta do baby steps. So it's like, how we get Lyra over? We put her on TV. All right, bet. We put her against some solid people. All right, bet. Now, granted, some people are like, I wish that. Now, this is when me and other people differ. The match should be longer. You don't need long behind matches. I don't understand. Like, okay, maybe my wrestling psychology is off, but I'm like, sometimes you just need 15. Sometimes you just need a good 10. So I'm not sure, like, oh, then crank up the third gear. Huh? More so I'm thinking about her versus Dakota Kai, Lyra and Dakota. I'm like, no, sometimes stay on 10 and get on 10, stay on 10 for 8 good minutes is better than, let's do three shifts up. That's just me. But yeah, this match was good. And I was very surprised.
We're talking about Ivy Nile.
Yeah.
No. Well, the last thing I just said was getting Lyra on TV, and people were complaining about it should be a longer match. It's like sometimes you'll need longer matches. Now with Ivy Nile, they actually gave them a commercial break, and then I'm not sure if it does better or worse for the match, but I do love these two together. I think this is actually a pretty good match.
I feel like there wasn't much to take away from it.
Why?
I mean, it was a fine, serviceable match, but like I don't think it did anything to really propel either of these women. I don't feel like you got that much time, and it's it very unmemorable for me.
Like I said, baby steps. So it's like, okay, Let's just get them on television. Let's give them a standard 10 minutes, and then we'll work our way up. Hopefully, we'll work our way up because I'm not going to be naive and say, "Hey, if we stay on this track, we're going to get to where we need to go." I'm not naive to think that, but just give them a good 10 minutes and on television, and let's start from there.
I felt like this was on here so that WWE could say that we had 2 women's matches.
Or more so, hey, look, we are paying attention to the women's IC title. Either way, I'm focusing on the wrestlers, and as long as they get TV time, we can work our way up.
I mean, I hate to be cynical, in that regard, but I tend to think that I agree with Sammy a little bit, which is, well, we should have at least 2 women's matches. Let's throw this one on there, which is fine, and it came off fine. And the reality is that WWE has never really made it a mystery that their titles aren't all equal. And this isn't a women's world championship; it is a mid-card title. And Ivy Nile and Lyra Valkyria are mid-card women at the moment. So this is what they should be doing. They should be in the middle of the card. Unfortunately, the reality is, even though it's for a title, this might be a situation where a lot of people took a break already or got up to go to the bathroom. I don't know. I hope not. I think Lyra's extremely talented. I think Ivy's getting better. So,
Lyra could contend for the world title. I don't know if Lyra could win the world title, but Lyra could definitely be a contender.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's good enough that at some point she should be in that main event picture for sure. I mean, I don't know, but I tend to agree with Sammy. I don't know that either of these women come out looking, a whole lot better. I mean, like Amika says, I do agree. It does take baby steps, and you got to start somewhere. And she's now beat, she had a couple, I think at least one defense before this too, but she's now in 2 weeks beaten Dakota Kai and now Ivy Nile. So I mean, a few more wins and maybe a win against someone that's a little bit more. I mean, Dakota Kai's not a script by any stretch of the imagination. You could debate Ivy Nile and what that win looks like, but Dakota Kai is a main event wrestler, whether we like him or not all the time, right? I mean, I mean, that's not a bad win. So I don't know. We'll just have to see what continues to play out with Lyra. But I think the future is bright for her, and it should be for Ivy. I mean, you don't always necessarily need more time. And I don't know that time is the right word. Like, the match doesn't need to be longer. Maybe it just feels like it needs more care, more, I don't even know, but like a feeling of like they care more about it than they do. You know what I mean? So I don't know how to explain that except to say it that way. But I don't know. It's like you can tell where their energy is focused, even production wise, a lot of the times, like let alone storyline wise or TV time wise. And you can just see where it doesn't feel like they're putting a whole lot of effort into something. They're just hoping, throwing it against the wall and hoping that maybe it works. And there's a little bit of that feeling with Lyra in this run. So, and this match with Ivy. So I guess I can see that a little bit.
No, like, so you hear wrestlers say that the creative wants them to create their own plans. This is that. Where it's like, yeah, there's gonna be some sections where creative or the top guys don't care. This is that. So unfortunately for Lyra, you have to put in your ideas or ask someone to give you ideas for your title. That's why I was kind of glad when Chelsea Green won the Women's United States Championship, because she has her ideas and they trust her, and it's just going to go balls to the wall. With Lyra, she needs some help. She's a wrestler, so I don't know. Talk to Becky. Talk to someone you respect in the division, and say, hey, what should I do with this title? If you just coming up with opponents, just come up with those, and then go to them and say yes or no. Because right now, yeah, you're.
You think she needs some help?
Yeah, no. Yes, with this, like I said, with the IC title, the higher ups don't matter. The higher ups don't care, and this is basically her division, and she probably has to come up with all these ideas. So unfortunately, I don't. This sounds crazy, but Lyra, you're on your own. So you need to get with someone to help you make this run a little bit better.
I can see that. All right, Sammy, what was next?
Ludwig Kaiser cut a promo and Penta beat him up.
Hopefully, this is what is coming up in the future. I really think that this is unfair for Penta to be stuck with Ludwig
Come
Kaiser, but as long as he kicks the shit out of him, I'm happy with it.
All right. I'm now gonna take a moment where I will address the backstage stuff.
Okay?
on. Okay.
There was something with Natalia.
Uh-oh.
Honestly, I don't even remember what was said.
I didn't know that happened.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But clearly, it was not
There was
memorable enough
a
for any of us to remember
moment with Chad Gable of like meeting a lucha master.
All right, you guys set the scene. Chad Gable has been gone for 3 weeks now. Now, so this was supposed to happen, and I hate that I know this and it didn't turn out well. The plan for Chad was actually to go to AAA and have a match, but they couldn't set it up. Screw you, Conan, that gone it. Like, come on! That would have been so awesome to put on television, but we digress. So those plans fell through. So we're now getting a vignette. And so we're going to assume that, because like they never said Chad was in Mexico. We just assumed the master arts of luchador, you go to Mexico, right? So we're going to, but I never said he's in Mexico. But he's walking the streets. He has a sign. You know this guy? Yeah. You know this guy? Yeah. Then he finally gets to someone who chose him. Evidently, this old looking dude with a poncho on. He's like, so you're gonna show me the arts? Everything you know is in here. All right, well, give it to me. He's like, I traveled a long way. He's like, come on. It's like, yes. It's like, no, a little more. Like, come on, like, yeah, a little bit more. It's like, bow. And so he opens the box. It has to be a luchador mask, right? It has to be a luchador. It has to be a luchador mask. And I still need, and so this actually was a nice video. I still need a training session with somebody. I still need, even though that wasn't part of the plan, he's supposed to be in AAA. I still want him to be training with somebody, either Dominic Mysterio in the mask or El Generico. I need him to be trained in the arts of luchador to make this it actually was worth it.
I mean, yeah, I enjoyed this. I thought this was good. I mean, when this 3 weeks ago or a month ago, when this started to happen, and Chad Gable talked about, "Oh, I'm going to leave to go become the world's greatest luchador," or whatever.
Yeah.
You talked about the things that they could do with this, and I was excited for it. And then obviously nothing really happened for a few weeks, and according to what you just said, that explains maybe some of it. At the same time, I thought they could have been doing this potentially the whole time, even with whatever they were going to do in CMLL. But maybe they just had a whole different storyline. But whatever the case may be, I thought this was very funny, and I hope that this leads to more vignettes. I'm excited
Yes.
for what this could potentially be, because the cinematic value of it I thought was great. I thought this came off good. Chad's, he's not a, you know, thespian, but he's a solid actor, and he did a good job for the most part in the role. And I'm just interested to see what they do with it. A lot of times these things don't pay off as good as I hope they would, but right now I'm optimistic, and I thought this was a fun little segment. I was like,
Me
well,
too.
finally, we're gonna get something cool with Chad Gable and the Lucha stuff, like. So,
Yeah.
what was next, Jimmy?
Had AJ Styles and Karrion Cross having a moment backstage where they're kind of teasing that AJ still has a dark side to him.
Listen. If you know we're not friends, what you're not gonna do is come behind me and hug me in a basically a almost choking me out kind of way. Like, you're not gonna back up. And so I love AJ. Like, hey, back up, bro. Back up, bro. Like let's call. I like when people are too old for stuff. So I love when AJ was like, look, back up off me. We already know what this is. Jump your devil on my shoulder. We don't need the hoopla of we don't need the hoopla of, oh, are we gonna listen to you or not? Since everybody have forgotten who AJ Styles is, let me remind y'all next week and call out Logan Paul. I'm fine with this. Hopefully, again, we're gonna talk about it later. This leads to something else. But yeah, I love when veterans are like, listen, I'm too old for this. I already know what you're trying to do. Stop it. Go someplace else.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed this. I like AJ, and I thought this was perfect for him.
Yeah. Next, Sammy.
Well, I don't really remember how this came about, but Braun Breaker beat up the Judgment Day. Like it was Judgment Day, so I was only half paying attention, and then Braun Breaker beat him up, and I was like, "Oh, wait, what? Huh? How'd this happen?"
No, so I guess you didn't watch. Yeah, the last 2 weeks. Yeah, Braun Breaker went up against Dominic, and basically that ended in DQ. But Braun basically powered out, and the last shot of last week was Finn tried to hit him with a chair, but he went face to face with him, and then Finn just slithered out, and he just had a face off. And then, I think we skipped a we skipped a backstage segment backstage where the Judgment Day was like, "Congrats, Liv and Raquel, champions, woohoo!" And then Finn being the hater that he is, he's like, "Yeah, great. You still lost in Elimination Chamber, and you, Dominic, you lost to Braun." And, and Dominic was like, "Bruh, like you part of this group too. You couldn't do nothing with Braun. You had a chair in your hand." And of course, he brought up this wouldn't have happened if we have a new member. And he feel like, "No, shut up, no new members. I'll handle Braun. I'll handle Braun. I'll go out. I'll go to the ring. I'll go out to the ring and handle it myself." Like, sir, I'm not sure what you're trying to prove here, but it's not working. We gotta reset. Let's reset. We're not gonna reset anytime soon because you being petty little Finn is actually a little pretty entertaining.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like this. I thought this segment was good, but I thought this came after the tag team title match, but we can go over that after this. But needless to say, I thought this was good. I mean, I'm here for Braun and Finn. I don't know that I need Finn to be beating Braun, but what? Oh, I don't need Finn beating Braun necessarily because I think Braun's on the upward trajectory. Where
Missed what happened, how this started.
All right.
No, hold up. Yeah, Sammy, say what you're gonna say now. In 3, 2, 1, go.
I think it's this vote. I don't think it's him.
Oh, come on.
I think he's trying.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Now go.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened that started for this segment. I think I went to the bathroom or something, and Braun Breaker was just beating up Judgment Day, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Now I will say this: Netflix, I need y'all to get y'all timing on point because this started when we came back from commercial break. Braun was already in the crowd saying something. The Finn was already in the ring. It's like, "Hey, we missed something," and evidently. Some people saw, some people didn't. I'm not sure how that comes about. Because if I'm paying a lot of money, I want to watch everything. I don't want to y'all be cutting me off. So y'all got to figure that out. But yeah, that happened the beat up against Dom and the face off of Finn happened last week. And this week they're kind of just continuing that.
Right. So I don't know if Sammy's actually there or not.
I'm here.
Okay. So Braun was talking to Jackie Redmond, and then Finn comes out, and it ends up in a big old brawl. And yeah, I mean, again, I'm here for all this. I mean, I'm here for Finn versus Braun. I think even though Finn hasn't been necessarily booked as a main event guy, I still think a lot of wrestling fans know who Finn Balor really is, right? And so him against Braun, I do think elevates that Braun's run a little bit. I think it's a better storyline. Finn's definitely, a top guy, at least in my opinion. I know he doesn't always get booked like that, but he's a top guy. So it's good for Braun. And I think this will be a fun match when it actually ends up happening.
What I was going to say, Yeah, I think you're still figuring out what to do with Braun at WrestleMania. I wouldn't mind a multi-man match. Like right now we have Finn. He had a face off with AJ Styles. I hope we didn't forget about that. If you want to put Logan Paul in there, fine. So a little forward between Braun, Finn, AJ, and Logan Paul. That would be pretty good for WrestleMania. If we're still throwing ideas against the wall. Him versus like we could do him versus Finn somewhere else, but not at WrestleMania. I think a multi-man match at WrestleMania is better.
I'm not necessarily opposed to that. A fatal four-way at WrestleMania. I mean, that could be fun. I just get nervous whenever Logan Paul's around because I'm always afraid they're going to end up deciding to let him win. So I don't really need to see him in a match for.
Understandable. Yeah.
Or Sammy.
Up next, we had the World Tag Team Championship match between the War Raiders and the Creed brothers, and this was fun. This was good. I really enjoyed this.
No,
Me
because
as
like
well.
the first
I think
time
this is the
they
best
did
we've
it,
seen of the Creed brothers in a hot minute.
oh heck yeah! And like in the first time they did it and in the DQ, I think we were all okay with it because that says we're going to do it again. So it's like, okay, we're going to do it again. So we're okay. All right, we'll let it go because we're doing it again. And this it didn't disappoint. It definitely didn't disappoint. Like you said, the Creed brothers shooting star press. Really, bro? That's what we're doing in the match. I haven't seen that since Brock Lesnar tried it. Like, come on. No, they shouldn't be beating War Raiders. But if y'all want to circle this back, please don't forget about Creed brothers and circle this back. Maybe at SummerSlam or Money in the Bank. But yes, circle this back if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, I can't lie. Like, even though I really liked the War Raiders, there were a couple moments where I was like, "Oh, let them play." I kind of wanted the Creed win just because of what was going on in the match, and it was a close call. And it was like, "Yeah, just let them win." But the reality is that the War Raiders have been able to do at least a little something with the tag team titles. I think they've made them a little, they've warmed them up a little bit over the last couple months. They've had some solid matches, and this is another one. I would worry a little bit about if they put them on the Creed brothers, if that wouldn't cool the titles down again.
Yeah.
Just, at the same time, I do think the Creed brothers should be world champions at some point soon. I mean, I agree with, or I don't know about soon, but at some point here in the future, I agree with Sammy. I think this is definitely the best Creeds we've seen in a while. And it might be the best that they've looked on the main roster as far as in a match. Yeah, no, I enjoyed this a lot. I thought this was a lot of fun.
As good as the main event was, and we're about to get into it, I thought this was match of the night.
I agree.
Well, I guess it's time for the main event, right?
It's time for the main event.
Well, see, okay. Side note. USA. I know you want your 3 hours because of Monday Night Raw. You had your 3 hours, but I think we need to compromise, y'all. I think because 3 hours is too freaking long. It really is, like, bruh, like this, like you said, we're at the main event right now, and it feels like we just started talking about this show. Yes, like okay, 30 minutes. 2 hours and 30 minutes is the perfect time. I don't understand. Like, y'all don't want to give us just 2 hours and 30 minutes. It does it 3 freaking hours. I'm just saying.
I couldn't finish SmackDown last night. I tried.
We're gonna talk about last night because you were silent on me, and I thought you were asleep until I said I had to pee. They're like, "Oh, wait, go." I'm like, "Wait, so you've had me babbling for the past 10 minutes, and I just behind fell asleep." Why do you bring that up? Why do you bring that up, Sammy? Go to the main event.
For the main event, we had Rhea Ripley defending her title against Io Sky, but Io Sky came out the victor, new women's champion.
Interesting. I mean, I don't have a problem with it at all. Other than, other than I just, I'm critical of all wrestling companies and their main event, pool being too small. But beyond that, Io Sky is a very deserving champion. She's an incredible wrestler, and Rhea's been a solid world champion for the past 4 months or 5 months. How long has it been now?
So she won it back in January, which is crazy.
Oh, Okay.
Remember
Oh, so it's only been a little
the
bit,
first
yeah.
show of Netflix?
Oh, that's right. That's right. So it's only been a couple months, but she's fine with the title. I thought this was an incredibly good match. I thought the match itself came off great. Both women are extremely talented. I don't necessarily know why they chose to have Io go over Rhea here and be the champion.
I think I understand it.
Okay, wait. I got you. Look out. All right, so let's set the scene of the main event. The main event, your winner of Elimination Chamber, Miss Bianca Belair, comes out to watch who's going to face at WrestleMania. Understandable. And then, so like you said, great match. You really can't go wrong with Io Sky. Rhea Ripley is still to be determined. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But Io Sky, I don't think I've ever seen a match where I'm like, oh, Io Sky didn't play one out her butt. But these two did great. And I think with and the story they're actually telling, you have to look into it, was friendship. Because Io actually used all of their control moves to help her beat Rhea. She actually did the insane elbow from Kairi Sane. She actually did the Oscar lock. It was like, oh my, yeah, because her faction, besides Bailey, they're still good. They're still friends, right? And then we get to Rhea. Rhea's kind of panicking because all her moves isn't working on Io, and we're actually telling the story that she hasn't been able to beat Io ever, and so they do some. What do they do when we're not sure? They do a move where they're both out. They're both outside the ring, and the refs do a 10 count. And Bianca is like, so she's like, of course, no one wants this to end in a count out, right? So Rhea is in there, but Liv is not. Sorry. Io is not. So she's like, "Come on, Io, get back in the ring. You can make it." So Io gets back in. This flipped the switch on Rhea because she thought that Bianca was taking Io's side or cheering more for Io to win. And so Rhea was like, "What you cheering for?" It's like, Bianca's like, "I'm not. I just want this not to end in the count out." She's like, "But why you cheering her for? It's gonna be me and you." And Rhea starts pushing people, and it's like, all right, hold up, because I don't think you realize I'm not Liv. I am Bianca. I will beat you behind. So Bianca pushes Rhea, and so I love this didn't end in the DQ because people are like, oh, with her hands like, nope, it's just shoving. It is just shoving. It ain't like she hit her with a chair. Ain't like she gave her a wrestling move. They're just shoving. So it's like, so Rhea gets back in the ring. She said, she looked at Bianca, so I'm seeing her at WrestleMania. She goes for a riptide, but Io freaking reverses it into a Hurricane Rana and goes for a
Yeah. Rhea Ripley had her on the second rope and was going to do the riptide, and then she stopped to talk trash to Bianca. And it was all the time that Io needed to get that Hurricane Rana off, and then over the moonsault, and then 1, 2, 3.
It was like when they do shock wins, sometimes it's like, oh, why did y'all do that? Or it's like, oh, what? This was a good shock. I don't think anybody's against this. We were like everybody was like, oh, you actually let it happen. You actually let it did it. And then like you see Rhea at the Rhea's just saying stupid.
And they told a story with it. Like it wasn't, just oh boom, surprise roll up, like the whole Bianca being out there, like they told a story in that amount of time that was outside of just the match itself.
And so yeah, I am not mad that Io won. If they want to make this a triple threat, please do. Like, because in my brain, like, okay, so we're watching SmackDown, and they had a graphic of Io versus Bianca, and it's like, that's cool, but let's can we put a third one in the middle? Because in my brain, please, dear God, I do not want to see Rhea versus Liv again. It feels like they're trying to tiptoe back to that. Every time either Liv's in something or Rhea's something, I'm like, listen, we've already done this story. Please, let's not backtrack to that, please. I'm not sure how it's coming to a threat because it's like, EO clearly beat you behind. But if y'all want to make it a triple threat, I think that's way better than a one-on-one in any capacity. In any capacity, I think we were all here for Bianca versus Rhea, but y'all didn't hype that up enough. In 2 months, that's too much work. That's too much work. Make it a triple threat, please.
Again, I thought it was a solid match. I thought it rounded out a very solid episode. I thought this was a strong episode. Even though I'm not a big CM Punk fan, I thought his promo was good. I thought him and Seth brawling was good. I thought the way they came off was really good. I
Seth
thought
Rollins.
Seth Brawlin. I thought that the stuff with Chad Gable and the Lucha stuff was very funny. I thought the Creed brothers and the War Raiders was really good. EO versus Rhea was really good. The wrestling on this show was very solid. I didn't think there was anything really bad this week. I mean, I guess Ivy Nile versus Lyra would have been the down part of the show, and that wasn't even a bad segment in any way, shape, or form. I thought the match was solid. And I thought it, even though, I'm not sure that it really benefited anybody, I think it did what it was meant to do for the mid card title, which is put on an okay match. So in that regard, I think this is a very solid episode of Raw. I think it's like an A minus.
You were a fan of Gunther Otis?
No,
was
not
serviceable.
necessarily. But again, I didn't find it egregious. And if that's the only segment that I have an issue with, then really have an issue with, which I don't. I mean, I didn't think it was egregious. The only issue that I have the only problem that I have with in general is, for me, the whole I'm wrestling guys that are like Jey Uso and that these are the guys that isn't working for me. I understand the joke. I get it. It just isn't working for me. The way it's playing out hasn't worked for me. But maybe it's working for other people. So in that regard, I thought Otis and Gunther actually, for what it was worth, they let Otis have a little bit of offense. He got the worm in with the elbow, which was always fun, although it looked like he had a hard time getting back up to hit the elbow at the last minute. But, I mean, Gunther got the win, and he should have. And again, if this is the worst segment, then it was a very solid Raw. So I think this is somewhere like a B plus, A minus. I'm right in the fence somewhere. I don't know exactly where I'm going to land this right yet, but I want to hear what you guys have to say, and then I'll make my final grade.
Definitely a B. Like you said, there's nothing egregious. Even with it, let's say Otis versus Gunther was a low point. It had a purpose, and it served its purpose. Ivy Now versus Lyra, it had a purpose. It served its purpose. Nothing was like, oh, that was just plain dumb, or oh, that was just plain stupid. Why the freak did y'all? It wasn't nothing that said, why the freak did y'all do that? So yeah, solid B.
So you gave it a B. Sammy, what are you giving it? I wonder if his audio cut out again.
What's up?
What's the score, Sammy?
Yeah,
I'm really split, but between an A minus and a B plus. But I think I'm going to give it a B plus, simply because I cannot remember the Natalia bit, and if I literally, for the life of me, can't remember it, it must have been bad.
Again, I'm not sure what's going on. I don't hate your score, but I'm not sure what's going on with Netflix, because listening to Russell talk, Ollie has the higher tier priced Netflix, and those things get cut off. Whereas Luke's only paying $6 for commercials, and he's watching everything. And it's like, hold up, shouldn't it be the reverse? If I'm paying 20 plus, shouldn't I see everything? And instead of, so make sure, I need y'all to figure that out, Netflix, please.
Yeah, I mean, I pay the highest tier of Netflix, and I don't remember the Natalia thing at all. So if it got cut off on Netflix, then maybe that's why I don't remember seeing it.
Now, granted, if you're using your discretion and saying, hey, it's not worth it, I'm not.
Right.
I'm not, whose discretion was like, you know what, this isn't needed. Y'all need to see this.
That's insane. All right, so Sammy gave it a B plus. I need to settle on a grade here. I think I'll settle at a B plus too. So, two B pluses and a B for Monday Night Raw this week. That brings us to the end of the Raw recap or Raw
Kind of
review.
surprising. I feel like normally Anika rates Raw higher than us.
Yeah,
I
I
rate
think that
it as a
tends to be
normal
true.
person, as a normal freaking person who actually has no bias. That's how I freaking rate it.
Oh,
Besides,
right,
I
gotcha.
don't like it because so and so is here or so and so is there. Yeah, no, I'm actually a normal freaking person. That's how I rate it.
I thought this was a really good Raw, like literally on the edge of being an A minus for me. Like, and same with ALW. Like, this was night and day between the previous week. Like, didn't I like give Raw a D like a week or two ago?
Listen,
Like
Yes. I don't know if it
not
was a
only
D, but I think
y'all.
you gave it like a C minus, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
C minus, basically a
I
D.
think so, yeah.
yeah,
Basically a
unlike
D.
y'all. I don't be arguing with your stuff unless it's stupid. Okay.
This was night and day. Like, if Raw was like this every week, like it would be the best wrestling show.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that brings us to what is going on with my internet? Hold on for just 1 second. That is okay. Get rid of that. No, that's you stupid uncle. Hold on for 1 second. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
you
having
good.
issues here with my computer. Just give me. No, I don't want that. Move it to. Oh, let's see why it's not doing it. Okay. Yes. Now there we go. Okay, so we are talking NXT from the next night, Tuesday, March 4th. It started off with they're a week away. This is basically the go home show for Roadblock. You know, it wasn't really until this, and I watched NXT and I watched it. And for some reason, it still didn't really realize, I didn't really realize that Roadblock was next week, just on a Tuesday episode. Like, for some reason in my head, I kept thinking it was coming up like another, NXT
Yeah.
takeover event, but it's next Tuesday is Roadblock on NXT. So this is our lead up show. Don't want to say go home show because it's not really a pay per view, but it's a special episode, I guess, of NXT next
Well,
week. Uh,
they're in Madison Square Garden, so
right.
like you could have just said Madison Square Garden to be special, but like no, I'll put a title on it, Roadblock.
So either way, we're getting a special Madison Square Garden show, Roadblock. So you get a little bit of preview of that, and then it goes right into our first match of the night, which is a women's tag team match. I will say, just before we get started, that I'm extremely happy that for all the lack of attention it feels like the women get on the main roster and either show, it feels like they get twice the amount of attention on NXT. It's like NXT in some respects has just become the women's show, which is great. I mean, I love it because they have so much women's talent. If the
Oh
talent
yeah.
pool gets rated, once it gets rated and all those people go up, we'll have to see if that changes and all. But right now, it should be. But um, so this is definitely the place to watch women's wrestling at the moment. So that being said, they kicked off the show with a tag team match, a women's tag team match, Sol Ruka and Zarya versus Piper Niven and
Chelsea Green.
who are main roster mainstays. They're down here for a little cup of coffee to have this match. Um, Chelsea Green. Oh no, I'm sorry. Sol Ruka got the win with the Stole Snatcher to get the pin on Chelsea Green, which I thought was kind of interesting. The match was really good. Zarya had the F5 to drop Piper Niven onto Chelsea Green, which was kind of how Sol Ruka was able to hit the Soul Snatcher and then the 3 count. Real quick, that Soul Snatcher is an amazing looking move. That's a cool
It
looking cutter. The
confuses
way
me every time I see it. It's like, what, okay, how exactly? Like, what exactly are you doing here? Like,
I'm glad they showed the replay because I watched the replay a second time after they even showed the replay because yeah, it happened so quick that it's like holy shit, she actually goes under and hits it like it's a cool looking move. So
Yeah.
And Zarya with the F5 looked good, and it made sense after dropping Piper Niven, who, no disrespect, is a large woman on Chelsea Green, made it much easier for Soul to hit the Soul Snatcher for the win, which I guess kind of explains. I'm still not totally sure why Soul and Zarya, who are not, I mean, they've been a Frankenstein tag team now for, I don't know, a month or so. I'm not sure why they're getting the win over an established main roster tag team, but it is what it is. It's NXT and their NXT talent to a certain extent. So, and Zarya was kind of brought out and debuted roughly around the same time that Julia and Stephanie were. And it felt like she was going to be kind of put, like the three of them were going to be pushed together. And then that slowed way down. I think maybe they saw, I don't know, maybe she was a little more limited than they thought she was. I'm not totally sure. Maybe she wasn't quite getting over with the crowd as they were hoping, but they definitely cooled her off a little bit and slowed her down. But she looked good here, and so it'll be interesting to see if they're going to actually have a solid women's tag team division, which I think they could do. This could be a very solid tag team, Zarya and Soul. If they're just doing this to give them something to do, I guess it's better than not having anything to do, but it feels a little like treading water if they're not going to do a little bit more. There's no tag team championships to go for necessarily on NXT other than the main roster one. So, it is what it is, but I don't know. I guess we'll end up seeing. What do you guys think of this?
Solid.
No, this was like you said, when it comes the NXT are doing a great job with the women. It's not like they're like, oh, we're pushing the agenda. No, these are just the best wrestlers right now, and we're going to push the wrestlers on television, which is very, very good. Chelsea Green is national treasure. Like I'm not, it is what it is, but I'll say it again. I wish they would have just kept her title as the mid card title. We didn't need, no offense, we didn't need the women's IC title. You could just had, just pay this, I feel like it comes down to money. Just pay this chick to go to the other shows with the United States Championship. Like just give her $100 more for transfer so she can be on Raw and SmackDown. And that probably been a better position for both of them. But like I said, this is great, and I love them. Like I said, we're in the same city. Let's have some fun. And they actually did have some fun. Don't know how freaking Chelsea busted her lip. Y'all don't have to go this hard. This is not a premium live event. But hey, y'all do y'all. That's probably why y'all the best. And you said with Zarya, I don't think they cooled her off. I think this is for something for her to do. It's again as long as she's not doing something silly. As long as she's not doing a low triangle for a kiss from a person, this is fine. This is fine. Right now, NXT is just having a overflow of riches with wrestlers, more so women wrestlers. So I ain't gonna say by the wayside. You might just have to wait a little bit longer. If you is and like I said, I was gonna say definitely she should go for the Women's North American title, but Roadblock is next Tuesday, and somebody's gonna have both titles. So we'll see how they're gonna do that. If whoever wins, are they gonna relinquish one title or they're gonna defend both? Either way, Dyer should go for the Women's North American title.
We then had a clip from earlier where Cora Jade and Jordan Grace got an argument over who would be a better TNA Knockouts champion. And Ava made a match for later in the night, which we'll get to down the road when it comes up. I'm not a Cora Jade fan. I do like Jordan Grace, obviously. Cora Jade is trolling, talking how she would be a better TNA champion than Jordan Grace was, and she'll be the best ever, blah, 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 which is what she should do as a heel. I mean, it's solid heel work. Anything you want to say real quick about this little segment?
Side note, we're right here. It's Cora versus Marsha Slimmer, bitch. Just Shayna Baszler. Ask for round 2. Ask for the rematch, please. We're right here. Screw Cora Jade. Can we please get Marsha versus Shayna too? Can we please do that? I beg of y'all. I beg of you, please.
Yeah, and the reality is that whatchamacallit, in no way, shape, or form should Cora Jade be beating Masha Slamovich for
God, no.
anything ever. So, um, let's see, Uriah Connors and Kale Dixon. Um, try to give Ava some office supplies, and Trick comes in. Trick isn't happy. Trick's been unhappy for a minute. He's been grumpy for several weeks now. I don't know if we're getting a full on heel turn from Trick, but he's definitely cranked the intensity up a little bit. He's teetering on almost that level of, is he going to do something to turn him heel potentially? Is he going to get,
Right.
that mad? But he basically says, tells him to go mess with Andre Chase. And, Kale Dixon's blaming Trick Williams for the closing of Andre Chase. And Trick decides to send Dixon into the wall for his words. What do you think of this little segment?
I mean, he's not wrong. I'm trying to rethink whether this is in my brain. He was kind of hyping Andre up to put Chase U on the line, so he's not wrong. But again, Chase is his own. You're a grown man. You could have said no. Like right now, like you said, for me, don't turn Trick heel. Like I think he should be a baby face. I like the idea that he's just going through a tough time right now. Like he has tunnel vision with with Eddie Thorpe, and let's get rid of Eddie. Let's just get that match over with, and then let's do something better.
Well, also, I don't feel Trick is a complete baby face. He has that tweener edge to him. Like he's
Yeah,
mostly baby face, but he's got that little bit of tweener to him.
kind
Like
of just do
I
that.
said, like this is real life situation. Sometimes I'm just pissed off, and it's not about you. But don't. There we go. It's not about you, so don't make it about you. You make it about you. Then my piss offtivity is directed towards your way, and that's what happens. So it's your fault. No offense.
Like Trick's the type that he could get into his emotions, and he could be hot headed and make a mistake. He's not a goody two shoes baby face. He has his own feelings. He has his own thoughts. He does what he wants to do. He doesn't just do something for the fans. He does things for himself too.
That's true. That's very true. It's very true. And I don't necessarily think they need to turn him heel, but I do kind of like the stepped up aggressiveness and the little, like, the more intense Trick. So if that's a glimpse into what he could potentially be like as a heel, I'm not necessarily opposed to it. I don't say they got to do it now or whatever, but I'm not necessarily opposed to it at some point either, because I thought, I like this, more intense kind of, hyper aggro, uber violent Trick. So
Like, why
let's
are you
see.
so aggressive?
Next we get a match that that we've been waiting for a little while here. Kalani Jordan versus Jada Parker finally coming to head. The two of these guys have been back and forth, cost each other a couple of matches. They've had some little words back and forth. They've been in some tag team action against each other. They were in a triple threat, I believe, with somebody else.
Triple
Not
threat
too
with
recently.
Carmen for the North American Championship.
That's right. Yep, exactly. So this has been ongoing for a while, and it finally comes to a head. And thankfully, in a very solid match, Jada Parker got the win. I say thankfully just because I'm a big Jada Parker fan. Against Kalani Jordan, I just really like Jada Parker. I think she's extremely talented. I think her ceiling's a little bit higher probably than Kalani Jordan, just because that has nothing to do with necessarily in-ring work. I just think she feels a little more memorable. She has a little bit more of that it factor than I feel like Kalani Jordan does. Kalani Jordan's a little more forgettable, where I never forget about Jada Parker. So she's done a good job, at least for me, that I always think about her. Every time I think of the women's division, I think about Jada Parker in NXT. So her getting the win here, I think, was good. And I thought the match itself was really solid. What do you guys think?
See me?
Sorry, I'm replying to a message. What's up?
Jada Parker and Kalani Jordan. What do you think?
They are both talented women. The, I would say I'm a bigger fan of Kalani Jordan. However, like anytime these two women are doing stuff, it's always good. It's always good.
Interesting.
No,
Anika?
I wanted you to go longer because I'm watching the match right now.
Well,
But no, yeah, keep going.
uh, this isn't the first time these two women have faced up against each other. I wouldn't say that they have quite a storied history, not as much as, say, Jada and Lola, but
Right.
there's definitely a path that these two have taken that has intersected quite a few times, and in the main roster, which I believe both will eventually make it to, I'm sure their paths will continue to cross.
Yes, absolutely. They have had this little feud going on between the two of them for a minute here. Um, around kind of that North American title, and then Kalani Jordan lost it, and they had whatever. So this, when I say came to a head, it's the first time that they've been in the ring one on one, and this little feud between the two of them. So, but they have been in the ring obviously before, and like I said, they were just in a three-way triple threat match with what you call it. Carmen Petrovic, and they've been in a couple tag team situations too over the last several months. So,
Okay, I'll
Anika,
say words.
you ready? All right.
I'll say words while this is still going. No, like when Kalani lost the belt, we're like, what do we do with Kalani? This was a perfect option. Where it's like, oh, face Jada. All right, bet. And to your view, AOW, I do think that Kalani benefited from this match, from this feud more than Jada, because like you said, Jada has the attitude. She has the character where that's like, because in wrestling, yes, you if you can wrestle, that's always good. But in my opinion, if you have a good character, if you have a good vibe, you can probably outlast people who are good in the ring, because you can make a story out of anything. I think that's the thing. So with this actually made Kalani a little bit more aggressive, and I love that, because going back to the breakout, I'm sorry to keep bringing this up, but it's like everybody was just happy, springy. I'm excited to be here. Nice. And Kalani's just like, no, I don't care about none of y'all. I'm about that life. I'm about to just beat up everybody. And so this actually giving Kalani a, what you call it, more of an edge that she needs. I see more purpose. I see more what's the phrase? More promise for Kalani. Like, okay, you're not just happy. You can actually bring it. You can actually bring the heat when necessary. And so, like, all right, so both of them would do fine. I love both these girls. Like, unlike a Julia or a Stephanie, we didn't just come in as top stars. We're actually seeing them develop, and you're very good. I can't wait when they actually say, all right, let's pull the trigger on either one of these. I think maybe Jada first, but either one, I'm perfect fine with. When they're like, okay, let's see you hold the title and propel NXT. I can't wait for that, because they're closer than most. They're closer than most. But like I said, this was great. This honestly could have been a roadblock. Honestly, like I wonder why they didn't have. Like maybe they have a couple. I know they're doing Jordan versus Roxanne and the women. Okay, all right. No. Yes, let's have three women's matches. Let's have Jordan versus Roxanne. Let's have Stephanie versus Julia, and we could have had this as well. But no, they showed out. They showed out. They showed up. They showed out. I love this. This was great.
I liked it. And then post match, Jada Parker called out the winner of next week's title versus title match. I mean, she's a little over her shoes. Obviously she's not going to be either Stephanie or Julia, but again, they have to have women to beat. And if I'm Jada Parker, I shoot my shot too. So I mean, you can't blame anybody for ever saying I want a title match, whether we feel like they get booked that way or not, or whatever. So we'll see what ends up happening with that, whether she actually gets it or not. But
But
we got Tony D. He's there with the family, and he says, I can't say on TV. Well, okay, so he gets asked what he thinks of Izzy Dame, and he says, I can't say on TV what I think of Izzy Dame. And then he says the D'Angelo family is to show that they're the real family. Sean Spears has his little family, but the D'Angelo family is the only family of NXT. and Sean Spears is going to find that out later tonight as they, are hyping up that match for the North American title later tonight, the main event. What do you guys think of this little Tony D segment? Anything?
Fam.
Tony
God.
D.
All we got is family. Well, no. Him being
Did
the
you
Dom.
just quote Dom Toretto?
That's what it sounded like when you read it back. It sound like that. It just sound like that. Family. All we got is
You
family.
know,
That's what it
I
sounds
feel
like.
that. I feel that. And now that you say that, like I kind of wish he'd like really lean into it. Maybe even shave his head.
No. It sounds better from Tony D's mouth because he's actually better. Yeah, I'll say it. He's actually a better character than freaking Dom Toretto. So yeah, I prefer it from Tony D's mouth than Vin Diesel's mouth. If you got to choose somebody. But this was you gotta hype it up. Yeah, this is a nice little hype up program. Mm-hmm.
We get a video package of the Roadblock media event with Oba Femi talking about how he's ready for the showdown with Moose. He has to win this match to keep the title. He's not worried about the size difference and will still walk away NXT champion. I was a little like, size difference? What? What are you trying to say? Moose is big? They're the same size. I mean,
If
when he's
if
standing in the
he's
ring, I thought
bigger,
it looked a little bit bigger. Like, I don't know. Like,
probably more. It's probably more like if you're shorter, your weight is more distributed better, right? If you're taller, your weight is more distributed. So they probably weigh the same. They probably weigh the same, but because almost a little bit like a couple of inches taller, it's distributed more. There's like muscle fat, body fat, all that good stuff. Whatever. Hey, y'all close enough. It ain't like you're towering over each other on either side of the spectrum. So it's fine.
so Oba's Oba, and he's great to listen to, and he's a solid talker. I am a big Oba Femi fan at the moment. Like, he's my guy at the moment,
Yeah.
especially on NXT. So, anytime he's on the TV, I'm excited. Let's
Okay.
see, we get the Hardy Boys. The Hardy Boys are here for a chat. Jeff says it's been crazy to be back here. Matt talks about what a wonderful place it is, NXT. And they saw the fire in Braxium's eyes. But then one of my least favorite tag teams, unfortunately, on NXT interrupts. Hank and Tank come out. They make it clear they don't mean any disrespect. They want to come out and tell the Hardys how much they love the Hardy Boys, and how they want to take it extreme, and how that means a TLC match. And Hardy says it's not necessarily just about tables, ladders, and chairs. It's about being willing to take risks and bet on yourself. And then we get my favorite tag team right now, currently on NXT, Q Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura. And they come out and they don't like Hank and Tank, which they shouldn't. And they they basically want their shot at both, want to dominate the tag team division. They want Fraxium, they want the titles. They're going to, if they have to go through the Hardy Boys, they will. And it ultimately ends up in a brawl. And Matt says, "Oh well, a brawl between the Inamura and whatchamacallit,
Take a
Briggs,
tape.
and leaving whatchamacallit in the ring, the Hardys in the ring, Hank and Tank.
Yes.
So those four brawl off, leaving the Hardys in the ring. And Matt says he knew that they would come. The Hardys want them to bring their best next week, and respect seems to be shown. That's between Briggs and Inamura ultimately. Um, we'll see what ends up happening. What do you guys think of this little segment?
I like the idea of the segment, but Hank and Tank,
The
really?
idea.
Yeah, but Hank and Tank, like out of all the tag teams to get the Hardy's rub, Hank and Tank, like really? Like really? Now, granted, Fraxium is gonna face them, so that's probably the biggest rub ever. But Hank and Tank, no, it's like no. The funniest part was when Jeff, when Matt took with Jeff, you see in her eyes, I see it too. They're willing to go extreme. Like, shut up! You don't see Jack. Go that line. You don't see Jack. Shut up. It's fine. Like you said, the idea of this was cool, and of course, I love a good old broken Matt Hardy. Fraxium. I need you, Tom. Like Matt Hardy is broken. The Broken Hardys will always be my heart song. This will probably be match of the night on Roadblock. I'll put the money. I'll put the money on it. I'll put the money on it. I'll put the money on it. Yeah. Oh yeah, and also check them out. After this, we'll find out who's the greatest tag team of all time. Again, stop saying stuff y'all know isn't true. Even if Fraction wins, it's always gonna be the Hardys. It's always gonna be the Hardys of who's the greatest tag team between you two people. Now you put other people in there, it's debatable, but between you two people, it's Hardys. It'll always be Hardys.
Yeah, I mean, I know that Sammy's not very high on Fraxium, so he's probably
I'm
up
also
there.
not very high on Hank and Tank.
Yeah, I figure that you're on kind of the Hardys versus Fraxium, but I do agree with Anika that on paper, if you can really get the Hardy Boys up for the match, that on paper it does have the potential of being perhaps the best match at Roadblock, but we'll have to see. I mean, obviously we know what the Hardys can do, and Brax's extremely talented, like him or not. So the four of them could work very well together. It'll be very interesting to see, but the match should be fun. Let's see. Then we had a little video package of Julia versus Stephanie, trying to hype that up. I do think it's interesting that they're doing it at a Roadblock, and I understand. I think it's Madison Square Garden and it's a big show, and maybe because it's a Madison Square Garden, even though it's not a takeover, maybe it's your biggest NXT show of the year. Maybe that's why you're doing it. I don't know. It still seems odd to just do it on a random Tuesday night. I guess it's not random because it's at Madison Square Garden, but it feels like a random Tuesday night. And I'm still not totally sure why we're getting title versus. I mean, I don't really understand why we're going to get Stephanie and Julia. They're the two best women on the. I mean, I guess it's debatable with Jordan Grace there, and maybe someone would even argue Roxanne Perez potentially, but they're, in my opinion, they're the two best women on the NXT women's roster at the moment. So I understand why at some point they would be competing over that women's world championship. I guess I just don't understand why they're doing it now, and I really don't understand the purpose of doing it title for title. It leads me to believe that somehow something weird is going to happen and it's going to end in a DQ or a draw or something. I don't foresee one of these two women walking out with two titles. I'm not sure I understand the purpose of that at this point. So I feel like the women's division is so good because they have both titles, and now they've got Stephanie, who's, arguably the best woman on the roster, and Julia is arguably too. So each one has a title, and so much like it was when Gunther had the IC title, it raises that profile of that North American Championship a lot. And so I'm not really sure I understand why they're doing this, but the match should be fun. I mean, I can't complain about getting Stephanie versus Julia ever, but at the same time, it just seems like odd booking and storytelling to me. What do you guys think about the match in general coming up? And
look at here, you old man. I'm not gonna say this to you one more time because you forget a lot. I told you one of them is hurt. That's why we're doing this match. Now, I'm not telling you so you be surprised, but that is why they're doing this match. Now, on like you said, Calvin's title is like, like I said, someone's hurt, so we got to do the match now. And I get why we're doing them together because like whoever's hurt, them getting beat by someone else seems like they're lowering their stock. Like no matter Stephanie or Julia, I don't see them getting beat by like we talk about Jenna Parker, right? She's great. That program's going to be entertaining. But right now, there is no way Jenna Parker should be beating either Julia or Stephanie. Zaria, yeah, she came in with them, but she's still new. And no offense, unless you're watching indie scenes in Australia, I don't think she should be beating either one of those girls. So it really, and even though Jordan, like we just got Jordan, I am not a fan of putting a belt on someone when they just come in. I'm sorry. After Brock Lesnar came in 2002 and they just put the belt on him. I'm like, I don't think that's a good decision. Not even because of Brock Lesnar. When Gail Kim came in and they just put the belt on her automatically, it's a very tall hill to climb. Now, granted, Jordan Grace is not a rookie. She's not she's people actually do know her. I still feel the need of no, you don't need to put it on her just yet. Like we can wait until you need something for WrestleMania, right? So like if y'all want to do a match at WrestleMania takeover, do it then. But like yeah, just doing it now at Roadblock, it's fine. So I'm here for Taito versus Taito.
Are you saying someone was injured, but I'm not giving it any heat because you won't tell me who? So
You
out of
a
spite,
surprise, sir.
because I'm pissy about it, because I'm pissy about it, I'm not going to give any credit to what you're saying about it. So there you go.
That's not being real wise manly of you.
Sammy, anything you want to say about Julia and Stephanie? Yeah, I think you're having audio issues because you keep breaking up.
Am I good now?
Yep.
Now you are.
All right. I'm down for it. Like, we all know how great Stephanie is. Like,
yes, we do. Like both of these girls is gonna be, hopefully, besides the injury, it's gonna be at least a decent match, and of course, we're gonna run it back.
Yeah. Okay, so next we had Cora Jade versus Jordan Grace from earlier. And this was very interesting because they were going at it, and then all of a sudden, Cora Jade went into the ropes and kind of slunk down, and all of a sudden, medical team showed up, and she ended up having to leave the ring and not finish the match. And I don't know, this didn't look kayfabe at all. This looked like this was okay. So what happened? Do you know what happened?
So okay, like I said, I watched this live. I'm not sure why I didn't see Kalani versus Jada live, but I saw this live. And basically, so they started, right? We go into commercial break, and yeah, medical's in the team. My first reaction was, oh crap, she got her head rocked. It felt like it looked real concussion-y. So she walks out. They're like, by referee stoppage, Jordan Grace won. I do love that, where it's just like, okay, we still need a winner. So by referee stoppage, Jordan Grace wins. But yeah, I'm not sure how she got her head rocked, but basically, yeah, she got her head rocked. And thankfully, she walked out on her own volition. So hopefully, a couple of weeks, you can't wrestle. Hopefully, and then we'll come back. But yeah, physically, it didn't look like she was hurt, like an injury, like a bone injury. No, yeah.
No, it looked like something else was going on. So no, I mean that was scary for a moment, but Jordan Grace did ultimately get the technical win. We're critical of Cora Jade, and I'm not a Cora Jade fan. Obviously, I wish her full recovery and that she gets better as soon as possible. That being said, I don't necessarily mind her being off. Horrible thing to say. Maybe that's too soon, but again, we do wish her all the best and that she recovers fine. I mean,
yeah, she's fine. We're on the TNA side. I think they're still doing Marsha Slimovich versus her. So she's cool.
Yeah. Anything you want to say, Sammy, about this little Jordan Grace Cora Jade segment? I call it a segment match that ended in a technical win.
I don't give a crap about Cora Jade, but Jordan Grace is incredible.
I'll say this: if Jordan Grace rocked Cora Jade's head like that, it's like, ma'am, can you please tone the intensity down a bit? Or you can't, like, it's kind of sad to say, but it's like we need these girls. Everybody can't, like, let's test the waters on how hard you can rock a chick. I get, yeah.
This is the inherent problem with a situation when you're trying to not go full force in a combat situation, right? Because inevitably accidents happen. People do things, you try to hold that punch and you don't hold it as well as you meant to. You try to tuck the head when you do the slam and you don't get your arm maybe in the right position and they get
Yeah.
dropped on their neck a little more than they should. You've thrown someone into the turnbuckle 25 times or 25,000 times in your career, but this one time you accidentally step wrong and you throw them an inch off and their head hits the buckle in the wrong way. That's an inherent issue when you're trying to have situations where you're attempting to do things that are not full force, because inevitably they're going to happen full force sometimes. And, there's a lot of people over the years that have gotten blamed for being bad workers or too hard or dangerous. And I don't think Jordan Grace has any of those, any of that
No.
baggage in any way, shape, or form. And I don't think she did anything bad here in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying that it's that easy, that it happens that quickly, and that it can be that innocent. And that I truly believe most of the time it is. Now, even when it's innocent, are some people guilty of being put in situations they shouldn't be put in, and that's why accidents happen? Probably. They're moved up before they should. They're put in big matches with people they probably don't have, they shouldn't be in the ring with yet, or those kinds of things. But I don't believe that anybody's ever. I mean, I guess maybe you get your assholes sometimes out there to really hurt somebody. But I think as a general rule, wrestlers aren't trying to hurt wrestlers. So, and stuff like this happens, it's like, oh, well, what did Jordan Grace do? Well, she didn't do anything but try to do what you're trying to
Yeah.
do, and that's a very hard thing to do, So, as we say, it may be fake, but accidents do happen, and they're real athletes and real people that are doing real athletic endeavor out there, even though they're mitigating the force of their activity. So, you know, yeah, I mean, these are bound to happen. It's unfortunate, and like I said, I hope that she recovers as quick as possible. I don't care about her as a character or her in the ring either, but I do hope as a person that she's fine. And obviously, like Anika said, we know she's okay because it's still something we're going to have the match.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Go ahead.
to back on that, it's just a matter of, I guess, like knowing who can take it and who can't. Cause I don't want Jordan Grace to pull back. Like that, your superpower is that you're strong, and I don't want you to pull back. But I guess like sometimes just like, okay, let's test the waters on how hard I can hit you. Now again, we don't know how she's gonna head rock, but sometimes it is like, okay, let me see how you take this, so I know. All right, I can't go full force on you.
Yeah, I mean, there are obviously some, situations where, some guys are like, go ahead. And you know that you can see it like, and I've harped on this a lot, but when you get the situation like a Rey Mysterio and a Big Show, like Big Show can say, "Go ahead, Rey, you can hit me as hard as you want. It is what it is." Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's in those kind of situations. So I'm sure there's plenty of situations, and I'm not talking always when it's that big a size disparity. I'm just using that as an extreme example, but I'm sure there are plenty of guys that are more like there's the insane guys like John Moxley that are like, "Hit me as hard as you can. It needs to be as real as possible." I'm sure. So I get that, and at the same time, the overall idea of wrestling is that you're not going full force all the time, right? I mean, that's the whole idea. And that's why you can wrestle on Monday night and get what looks like a complete ass beating and come back and wrestle in 3 days or a week. Whereas, like you see in the real world boxing matches or MMA matches, they're off for months afterwards because it actually takes time to heal when it's a true full force and you're getting all of, a true, full force competition like that. So, again, not taking anything away from the wrestlers, but
to end it, I hope Jordan Grace finds her Sheamus. Cause Gunther versus Sheamus, oh, they can beat each other up so bad. It will be a beautiful story of violence. So I hope Jordan Grace finds her Sheamus, where she can just like, oh, we're just gonna go full force. Heck yeah, chick, let's go. Yes, I want that for her. I want that.
Yeah. No, I do too. Let's see. So then we get a video package of Sean Spears and Tony D coming up, which is the main event of the night for the North American Championship. And then we get a split screen interview between Javon and Ethan Page. Let's see. Page is bitter because someone that wasn't even alive when he started wrestling is trying to give him a pep talk. And that that's not going to work for him. And that if he could break Javon's jaw again right now. He would do it. Obviously, they're not. They're both on different cameras, so he can't do anything in person per se. And
Right,
Javon
right.
says that isn't going to happen, and that at Roadblock, I'm going to beat you basically. So, anything about this promos or this interview segment here between these two?
Age is very much a crazy thing because it really like just going to the women's division. Like Roxanne is no. Yeah. Roxanne was a kid getting Bailey's freaking autograph, and now you're facing Bailey. It's like, hold up, wait. How is that possible though? It really, but it's like, hey, as long as you're both rocking it, it's cool. So I can't really fault. I can't really fault Ethan Page for feeling that way because, like, I'm pretty sure you were watching cartoons when I was trying to wrestle. But all in all, Javon is very good. I'm glad he's getting this rub. I don't know who wins. So Ethan won the last one, but that doesn't mean he doesn't win this one. So it's gonna be a good match.
At some point, with Ethan being a heel and being so what he's done to Javon has to have his moment in the sun where he gets the win and the comeuppance against you. He just has to. Whether that's this one or not, maybe they're destined for a third one. Maybe it'll be 2-0 Ethan Page, and then he finally gets the win. I don't know. But
Yeah.
the other thing I liked about this was finally he's got the metal out of his mouth. So it's not impairing his talking quite as. So he's not. It's easier to hear and understand what Javon Evans is saying. So I like that. I appreciated that. Sammy, anything you want to say about the interview?
I was gonna say, so Bailey joined WWE 12 years ago.
2006, 2015, yeah, 2015. So
Oh, 10 years ago?
Freaking A, yeah.
Oh, okay. And Roxanne is 23, so that would make her 13.
That's still crazy. Like 10 years is still a pretty big age difference, though. It really, yeah. But I guess if you're if you are a good wrestler or you take care of your body, it will. I guess it could happen, but actually happening where it's like, oh crap, I'm facing people who are my junior. It's like AJ Styles is Braun Breaker. Oh, we for darn sure know that's probably 15, 20-year difference, maybe. So it's like, but it's gonna happen and it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be actually pretty good if they do it right.
It's very interesting because I'm now you guys might be in certain situations, but I'm definitely I'm old enough now to where watching sports and you start to see the people that were just a little older than you now, they're kids on a regular basis. It's like they're like the new stars. It's like, holy shit, and really I remember when your dad was your age, you know what I mean? And it's very weird. Professional athletes now are significantly younger than me. I remember when I was younger than them. These were my heroes. Now I'm twice their age. It's like, whoa.
As a woman, it's very weird when it's like, you're jailbait now. This is weird. I can't be fawning over you. You just got out of freaking college. This is stupid. Oh my God. Why are you? It's like, you big, strong boy.
Yeah, I mean, they show, women come up on NXT or whatever, and they're like 23, 24. I'm like, well, she's not. My daughters are older than that. My daughters, you're like, hey, that's not okay. I can't live like that anymore. So,
yeah. Oh
my God. Weird dynamic.
I wonder if AJ ever wrestled Rick Steiner.
Ooh, interesting.
Well, we know he faced Papa Pump. I'm pretty sure that happened in TNA. So that's insane.
Yeah.
Rick Steiner, maybe, because he did do, correct me if I'm wrong, he did have 1 year in WCW?
Yes.
A 1-year contract,
And AJ Styles was there as the tag team Air Raid. And, of course, the Steiner brothers are a tag team. I wonder if they ever jobbed out to the Steiners.
It might have happened. And that's, again, that is stupid. Let's yeah.
So this says that at some point, again, last week we had an issue with the internet, but according to Cage Match, at some point it was AJ Styles and Tyson Tomko versus the Steiner brothers in 2007.
Oh, okay. I was thinking 2001.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't. If he's wrestled Rick Steiner one-on-one, it doesn't show that.
Oh, I wasn't thinking one-on-one. I was thinking Air Raid versus the Steiner brothers.
Oh yeah. But yeah, no, it was Tomko and Styles versus the Steiner brothers at some point at least. So that was 2007. So definitely, AJ and Rick have wrestled each other, and I'm sure that they probably wrestled more than that too. I mean, I would imagine that they've had more than that. So let's see. We then had an interesting segment, which I thought was kind of the down part, which is really unfortunate because I'm a huge Trick Williams fan, but he's supposed to have a match with Kale Dixon. He comes in, he hits the trick shot in like 2 seconds and it's over. And then here comes Eddie Thorpe. I thought we were fucking done with this. So here comes Eddie Thorpe. We've had almost every kind of match you can imagine between these two, except for the one he's going to announce and challenge Trick for now at Roadblock, which is NXT Underground. So Eddie Thorpe challenges Trick to an underground match next week at Roadblock. And of course, what did you think Trick was going to say? Of course. So Trick said yes. And so I guess we're getting them in an underground match rundown or at Roadblock next week. I don't need to see these two wrestle anymore. I don't understand why they continue to put these two in matches together. This is what, 4 now? I think this will be the 4th match now. And so it's like, come on, I thought we were done with the strap match. So I guess it is what it is, but we're going to get these two again. What do you guys think about this?
Okay, so one-on-one, this will be the 3rd match. Cause remember the one time was triple threat between him, Oba, and Trick. So
That's
we'll leave
true.
that one
That's
out.
right.
So yeah, this is probably the 3rd one between them two. I love this was squash. It shouldn't have squash because no offense to the Andre Chase Farner overs. It's like no, you're gonna get mollywop. So yeah, I'm fine with that. Eddie Thorpe, this should end at Roadblock because after Roadblock, in my mind, okay, we're on the road to WrestleMania Takeover, and that's where we're gonna get Oba versus Trick. So this should be the end of it. Unfortunately, it is like I'm not mad at it because it's like really we can't end it with Eddie Thorpe getting a win over Trick. In my personal opinion, that is not how we end this feud. So yes, we have to do one more match, and it should be done. But this was fine. This was fine for me.
Tammy?
Are we still talking about Eddie Thorpe?
That's what we were just talking about.
Do you have anything to say about the segment?
Trick again.
I wish the women were on.
You wish what?
Jordan. He said, I wish the women were on. Well, your wish is granted because next we get Roxanne Perez, and she's attacked Jordan Grace in the back, which is interesting. Then we get Roadblock rundown. Undertaker will be at Roadblock, which is interesting too. I don't think he's going to do anything. I think he's probably there just to hype up. What's the name of the new show that he's a coach on?
LFG.
Legends, Greats, and Futures.
You know what they did?
I think it's Legends and Future Greats.
Yeah, they said, we like the term let's fucking go, so let's come up with something that we can use for that acronym. We can use LFG because everyone really knows it means let's fucking go, and we'll just give it another name.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that LFG is let's fucking go?
I don't use acronyms like that, so yes, when I'm texting somebody, I really do. I go on Google. What does TMI? Okay, cool, bet. Yeah, let's do that.
So I think somebody in the back was like, "Oh, I like LFG. Let's fucking go. Then let's come up with a better name because we can't use that."
I have yet to see it. Is it better than Tough Enough?
I have yet to see it, honestly. I watched week 1 of Evolve, but I haven't seen LFG yet. So,
I haven't seen
because it's the new Tough Enough. Like that's what it is.
Right.
But the voice style, everyone has each trainer has a team instead of we're going to train everybody.
Right.
which is a nice little twist to it.
It kind of makes
I
it
mean,
similar to NXT early days, the first 4 seasons, where like it was a mentor, but instead of just
right.
being a mentor, now they're a coach. Like they have a team.
No, I mean, I'll put out at some
It,
point. I
it's
mean,
it's
I am
uh
really interested.
it's the voice, but instead of singing, it's wrestling.
When you see clips of like what, so this week on Evolve, it was the first episode of Evolve back again, and in between the two matches that they had, because they only had two matches, it's only an hour, but in between the two matches, they had a segment where they showed Evolve from before, and everybody that came through it, Drew Galloway, all the guys that have come through it, and it's
Yeah.
like that's the reason why I still watch it, because I knew that we're gonna see these guys at such a young age, and I don't want to miss them, because some of those guys I did miss before, like because I wasn't, there
Yeah.
was a period of time where I wasn't aware of a lot of that stuff, independent wrestling
Yeah.
per se. It wasn't on TV, it wasn't necessarily overly accessible per se in the early days of the internet, and even later, until recently, it is what it is. So I don't want.
Uh,
I'm so interested now to see who actually pans out and becomes stars in the future.
yeah, I remember watching an episode and like it was like Austin Theory and
Hmm?
Shotzi Blackheart on the show, and I was like, oh,
Uh,
yeah, these two are going to WWE.
yeah. Yep. And yeah, they had so many guys there that are now in WWE. So let's see. So now let's see. We're back. Moose is talking about his match with Obafemi. He says it will be the biggest match of his career for the biggest prize. Um, and then he leaves, and Ava makes. She officially declares Roxanne Perez versus Jordan Grace at Roadblock. Um, and then Fatal Influence wants Fallon Henley to get her title rematch for the North American Women's Championship after Roadblock, after the title match. So I guess we'll see who ends up having the Women's North American Championship afterwards and what that looks like for Fallon Henley. We then got Ricky Starks, who meets Ridge Holland. He's not overly impressed.
Get away!
And then he says that Ridge should get used to seeing a lot of them. And
Someone
then he runs
else.
into Sean Spears.
Yes, him.
Sean Spears says the Revolution will be televised when he wins the North American title later tonight.
Do that one.
What do you think about these four backstage segments or four little segments? You want to say
What
anything
I
about it?
just said.
I didn't hear what you just said. Sorry.
Yeah. Get away from Ridge. Do that one with Sean Spears. Get
I agree
away.
with that.
No. Do that one. Right? Do Sean Spears. That's it. Ricky. I don't care what they try to pitch at you. Get away from Ridge Holland. No.
No, I mean, and as this is leading up to the main event is the North American title match between the champion Tony D'Angelo and the challenger Sean Spears. And when this wasn't totally sure what we were going to get, but now it does make more sense because Ricky and Sean are going to go now that Sean. Needless to say, they have a very solid match. Sean Spears does end up getting the win, which I was a little surprised about. Very solid match. And you have a new men's North American world champion, North American champion, I guess, Sean Spears. But then the fact that Ricky wants to go for the North American title versus Sean Spears makes more sense. Like that, like you said, stay away from Ridge, focus on Sean Spears. Sean Spears is now the champion, and you can have that Ricky versus Sean Spears situation. So I'm here for that, and I assume Ricky will beat Sean Spears, not probably right away, but at some point for that title. I assume Ricky's destined to have that title pretty soon here. For me, I thought the match was very solid. The only reason that I think this makes it can only make sense, but I think this makes a lot of sense that Tony D's going to the main roster, which I think is got to be happening, right? He's already been NXT World Champion. He's been North American Champion. There really isn't anything more for him to do on the main roster other than wrestle guys he's already wrestled. So I think he's destined for the main roster. We've talked, at length about that, so I won't get into all that. But I think that's what's ultimately happening here, and probably why Sean Spears won here. What do you guys think about this? Sean Spears getting the win. What do you think about Tony D in the future, and so on?
I like Sean Spears. I don't have much hopes in him ever winning a championship, but I like Sean Spears.
So you didn't think he was going to win the North American title, or this doesn't satisfy what you mean by winning a championship? You mean on the main roster?
Did I mess up my sentence? I had no hopes that he'd ever win a title.
Okay, maybe I misheard. You had no hope, or you had hope. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. You had no
I probably butchered my sentence.
So, yeah, no, I mean, there was a part of me that was worried that Sean Spears might not ever get the opportunity again, but clearly he did. So, that's where I think he's doing solid work. And Nico?
No, like when they brought up the stat that he never won a championship in AEW nor in NXT. Like the main roster, I'm like, okay, yeah, I kind of figured he didn't win a championship. But like he didn't win anything in NXT. That was kind of crazy. And
I think the only title he ever held was the tag titles in FCW with Cody Rhodes.
That's what they said. It was another company, but it was still like in NXT. He never won anything. That kind of blew my mind a little bit. But in the context of this match, bring this hard. This was a great match. For the people in the back, because I think some people were kind of doubting Tony D's title reign. They're like, it's getting kind of weak. It's like, let's remind each other, Tony D is not just a character. He's actually really, really good in the ring. So I love the storytelling of them attacking his back. And even though he kicked out of the first C4, he couldn't get out of the other one. It's like, yeah. So that's why he's gonna be good. And he's also good in the ring. Context wise, I love this for Sean Spears because when he came back last year, when he came to NXT back last year, it really did feel like, okay, you're just going to be here to train people and you're not really going to do anything with you. And that's unfortunate because Sean Spears is still somewhat young. And we could say he can still go in the ring. So like I'm not asking for the moon and stars. He'd be the main event champion. But it's like, no, he can still have a good storyline. He can still have a good program. So for me, I'm actually glad that he is the North American champion. Like, yes, he can still he for the entertainment of us, he still has something to offer. So I am glad that he actually has a faction. He actually has we actually put together Sean Spears back in NXT. Not just being here to wrestle. We actually have a character for him. He's actually going to do something with it. And I'm excited. Yeah. When they inevitably do Ricky Saints versus Sean Spears, that's going to be great. So big ups. But Tony D, you will always forever be the Dom. And this was a great match for you too.
I feel the best material for him is interacting with other people who lead heel factions of like just like discussing business. Like not like getting involved with each other, but just like, yeah, we're gonna attack this dude in the parking lot. Oh, have fun with that. We're gonna attack this dude after the match. Good luck with that. Just little moments like that if they were to do, like that'd be the best stuff for Sean Spears to be doing.
Like, hey, catch you later? Yeah, catch you later. It's gonna be fun. But yeah, I'm actually excited for him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, knowing that, his kind of lack of championships in his career, this has to be, a real good moment for him. He's got to feel real good for himself. And, all that hard work is finally paid off. Sean Spears, I liked him before when he was Ty Dillinger. I liked him then. I liked him in AEW as the chairman. I like Sean Spears. I think he's talented. He's one of those guys that when I talk about guys, I'm not totally sure why they don't get over and why they don't have more of a prosperous career. He's one of those guys. So to see him finally kind of break through here and win a singles title and actually have that moment, good for him. Hopefully NXT does something good with him as a champion. So we'll see what his North American title run looks like. I thought this was a good show. I didn't think it was excellent. I didn't think it was necessarily down. We didn't have a Julia match. We didn't have a Stephanie match. The couple matches we had, I thought were solid. Obviously, the main event was really good. Jordan Grace versus Cora Jade. I'm not a big Cora Jade fan, but obviously her getting injured left that match. We didn't get all that match, so we don't know how good it could have ultimately have been, right? And the opening match was solid, but it was an opening match, and I understand you're supposed to put a really good match at the beginning and a really good match at the end, and they probably did that. I mean, I'm thinking those were probably the two best matches of this show. I thought it was okay. I'm gonna give it like a B minus. I was saying B minus, somewhere around there. I know that it's supposed to be individual based and whatever, but when I just think in context, like this felt a little down for NXT for me this week, just in general, which leading up to, even though it's not a PLE or a takeover event, you have Roadblock next week. And they did a lot about talking about Roadblock, but it just felt kind of underwhelming for what I feels like a go home show to a certain extent. And it just felt like a down week overall. So in that context, I think it's probably a B minus or a C plus. I'll go B minus. I'll go B minus.
Wow. You and me are like right there with each other this week. We thought the same for Rod, and we're thinking the same with NXT. Wow. Yeah, B minus.
We're all together on this B minus. Like you said, it's nothing egregious happened. We wanted a better shot of energy because it is Roadblock. Like, I'm not sure what that shot of energy would have been. But like you said, nothing egregiously bad happened. Everything served a purpose. And all the matches were fine to great. Like you said, unfortunately, Jordan Grace and Corey Jade, that was like, that wasn't like they were bad wrestlers. It's just something happened. So
right.
Well, Cora Jade.
She's not bad.
Debatable whether she's a bad wrestler.
In this match, she did nothing bad. It just an accident happened that couldn't continue the match.
All right, so we gave all three of us gave the show a B minus. So as of now, Raw is definitely in the lead over NXT for this week, but we're about to crack into AEW Dynamite, and we'll turn it over to Miss Anita.
Dynamite.
I'm not okay. So yeah.
No. Okay.
This is okay. We have AEW Dynamite from March 5th, and this is also the go home show for Dynamite. Revolution is this Sunday. Please come in tomorrow night.
Sunday.
We will be doing a watch along for Revolution tomorrow, so please do join us for that.
And it should be a very, very tasty card. We start off with MJF in the parking lot on 10 right now. So he's like, hey man, you looking for me, baby? I'm outside. And normally I like to play with my food, but you got me all riled up. I want to get a nice big old bite of the baby face. Like you keep saying you want to be real and come on, butt shots and all this. Wait, hold up. I'm trying to do it right. So he's like, I want you to get a nice little bite of the blue-eyed baby face. You see what I did with your boy Sean, to Christopher Daniels? That's light work. Now, you're looking for me. I'm outside. You're talking about butt shots. Well, I got a bullet. And it says, hey man, you want to ride? Cuss word. Well, settle up. It's like, sir, what did you take before this promo? Because I feel like I was like, again, usually, like you said yourself, usually you're calm, cool, collected, but something is going on with you where you just couldn't wait and you on 10. Do I hate it? No, but if it's drugs or lack of drugs, please take those. Okay. But it's very, very energetic Heyman to start off this segment, to start the show. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, this is solid. I mean, a lot of times there's not enough energy for me from these guys. Sometimes it feels like they're just kind of, I say this with the most respect I can put on it. Sometimes it just feels like they're going through the motions, and other times it feels like they're truly engaged. And both these guys feel engaged in this feud at the moment. This feels like
Oh,
something
heck
they're
yeah.
enjoying doing, and you can
Oh,
just
yeah.
tell. And I like it. I mean, that extra intensity, that extra what looks like they're really enjoying what they're doing makes it more enjoyable for me as a fan. So, yeah, I mean, and I like both these guys. I'm a big MJF fan, huge MJF fan, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
I say huge MJF fan, and I'm a decent sized Hangman Page. you know, I like Hangman Page. So I'm here for all of this. And even though I'm not a big fan of Hangman's current look, I think it looks a little whatever. But that being said, his attitude and everything is perfect at the moment. So
I think we're gonna fix it. I think after this feud, he shaves the mustache because like you're no longer crazy Hangman anymore. You're getting back to being a baby face. Baby faces don't have weird mustaches. So I think it's gonna get cut off after this feud.
I don't know. He has the whole cowboy gimmick, so it kind of works for me.
I don't mind the mustache when it's like the same length. If you have a beard
Oh,
and a
your
mustache,
lip.
that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't like the big huge furry lip and then the very thin, almost close to stubble 5 o'clock shadow beard look. I don't like that look for me. But
If
again,
he didn't have a cowboy gimmick, it would not work for me. But since he has the cowboy gimmick, for me it works. Like the only other thing he could do is be like a miner. Like there's very few things that would work. Cowboy is one of them.
Nobody, least of all, Adam Page cares what ALW thinks about the way he looks. So I promise. So it is what it is. So
Any
all
thoughts on
right,
the
what was
segment,
that?
Sammy?
Take my money. Like my only complaint is that this isn't for a championship here. Like what?
This is but not all feuds need championships. So it's like yes, some feuds just need to be feud so we can do more of these in the meantime between time, right?
Like these are two of the company's top dudes.
They are.
Like if this was for a title, you'd be hard pressed not making it the main event of the pay per view.
Most definitely. And I think we're getting close to one of them going for a title sooner rather than later. That's just me. All right, so first in-house segment, we have the contract signing of Ricochet and Swerve. Winner of this match becomes the number one contender of the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. We have Swerve come in first. Whose house? Swerve's house.
That thing I just said about the previous segment, let me reiterate this. These two dudes are two of the top dudes in the company. I can't believe this isn't for a title. If this was for a title, it could be the main event of another pay-per-view.
Listen, I think they're going to... When something is good, they definitely run it back. So they're probably going to run this back. Although, there's a couple of things we need to run back. So, like again, it's a spoil of riches. If we're going to figure it out, hopefully we'll figure it out. But like I said, Swerve comes out first. Then Pretty Ricochet comes out. He does not have the embassy robe on, which is very much so interesting. They both sit down, and of course, Pretty Ricky has to say something first. He's just trolling Swerve. He's like, I think it was Tony Schiavone who was like, we noticed you don't have the MC robe on. He's like, I'm getting it altered. That kind of jolted Prince Nana. Like, what you mean? He's like, no, worry. There's a couple of alterations. What could these alterations be? Either it's going to be gaudy, awful.
I cannot wait to see what Ricochet has done to that robe, dude. I'm gonna First of all, I'm sure it's not the real robe, right? I'm sure they put the real robe to the side or whatever, and they've got some sort of stuff. But I cannot wait to see what it looks like when Ricochet has it altered and he brings it out.
Like, are we getting Prince Puma? Are we getting King Ricochet? Like, whatever it is. Like, Man, like this is the best storytelling I think we've ever had out of Ricochet in his entire career. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a little bit surprised that he has this in him and we haven't seen it before. Because like before this, what was the best storytelling he had? Him and Logan Paul. Like,
Yeah.
That could have been something special, but Logan Paul talks too much, so he just ruined it. But yeah,
and you got
like
two phenomenally good wrestlers. Like not just in AEW, but in the world. Like I feel like you have to put both of these dudes top 20.
definitely working now. Yes, definitely top 20. And talking about the robe, it has to be something very, very pronounced, right? So like when MJF introduced the Triple B and it was just like a little hint of the Berber, it's like no, if you're gonna alter something, alter the crap out of it. Let's actually see the gaudy awful heelness of you wrecking shop of someone's garments or a belt. So so he said alterations, it gotta be pronounced and gaudy awful ugly. Okay, so so Ricochet and his whole, this is not my fault. You bullied me. You went after me. And that's why I had to go after you. And Swerve was just like, bruh, I don't want to hear this from you. Please sign a contract. Please sign a contract. Like, please sign a contract. It's like, no, we're going to still work. And of course, Pretty Ricky, no, we're going to still talk. We're going to still talk. And so it's like, like right now, after this, I'm coming after gold, and you'll be in my path. And he finally signs the contract. And then Swerve, he sells this really well. He's like, I really can't stand you. That was the vibe Swerve got. He's like, I really don't like you right now. And he's like, I'm gonna beat the. He's like, what? So you think you got one up on me because you beat me in one match? That means nothing, right? He's like, that don't matter. That don't matter. It's like after I beat you, the only thing relevant about Joe is like, so I make you relevant. Congratulations. After I beat you, the only thing relevant about you is your we're gonna announce her wife. Ooh, he actually mentioned Samantha. Side note, he said wife. When did y'all get married? I didn't know. I thought it was girl. I thought it was fiance. When did they get married?
I can't hear you for some reason.
Oh, you can't hear me now?
Now I can.
Yeah. I'll do it again. Oh, he mentioned Samantha. Okay. But yeah, side note, he said we're gonna announce her wife. When did they get married? Last time we checked, they were fiance. Congratulations if y'all did. But yeah, when that happened, I'm not looking for romances. So that actually got Ricochet riled up, and so Swerve went to leave, but of course Swerve ain't new to this. He senses that Ricochet has the golden scissors. He blocks it. He has black scissors of his own. Bobs Ricochet in the head, and he gets the final hit. Ricochet versus Swerve at Revolution. Great stuff. Your thoughts?
I mean, I'm not a contract signing guy. I don't like when they do these, but this one for what it is came off okay. I thought the Ricochet for the first time in his career, I'm not tempted to turn the volume off or turn the channel when he's talking. Like not just here, but like the last few months. Like he's been very good the last couple, especially the last couple weeks, but the last month or two or so, he's been very good. And yeah, it is interesting to see that, how much he's given us and how not little we got from him before, maybe or he was allowed to do, but like Sammy said, not realizing that Ricochet was potentially capable of this and being a little concerned because when he first turned heel, I felt like he didn't feel overly comfortable and like that dark black, all black kind of uber aggressive style. This feels much more like the swarmy sleazy heel, and he feels much more comfortable to me, and this feels much more in his wheelhouse and much more relatable and natural for him. So I like this little turn on his heel turn even more. So yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, this came out fine. Swerve and him are both extremely talented. The match should be incredible, and yeah.
I think it showcased both of the wrestlers well, their characters, and The scissors thing was new. Like that's not something you usually see get pulled out in contract signing. No one got sent through a table. Like all in all, it was
Difference.
unique. It was different, and it worked well for the characters involved.
Yeah, like just spice it up. Instead of someone looking at a table, I stab you almost bluntly in the head. Okay. Next, we have our first official match of tonight. We have the
Hold
Don
on.
Callis.
I don't care if anyone knows or cares, but they did make an announcement about AEW pay-per-view Revolution being on Prime.
Prime.
Now, at first when it said Prime, I thought, oh, are they gonna actually give it to us for our regular membership fee? But no, of course not. You still have to pay extra, but it will be on Prime for the first time. Anything you guys want to say about that?
That is
I feel like that makes it more accessible and available. Because, like, with the whole Bleacher Report thing, you got to put in your card number and do all this hoopla. But, like, people are already signed into Prime.
yeah. And also,
Yeah.
I feel like this is just a in between between time. Ultimately, I think they want to do their stuff on Max, but Max doesn't have the qualification. They don't have the capability of doing a premium live event yet. So, like, all right, so like, not sure when they're gonna have those capabilities. I feel like it's sooner rather than later. So it's like, okay, right now we'll do Prime, and I'm like, well, yeah. When I saw, like, oh, like Sammy said, Prime is more simple than Bleacher. I think with AEW, I think like Bleacher's stock probably went up tremendously. It's like, what the freak is Bleacher? All right, fine. I guess I'll try to find it. Daggone it. So yeah, this is more acceptable. I would love to know the numbers to see if it went up in numbers or not.
And did either of you happen to check to see how much it costs? I have not yet. I'm curious to see what it actually costs.
I haven't because I won't be here. But yeah, I can, Google nigga. Let's see what you say. How much is Prime? AEW Revolution. Come on, I did not say Rollins. Come on now. I need look here. Look at here. How you gonna be Google and not know that Seth Rollins is nowhere near AEW? Okay, $50. Yeah, $50. It's still 50.
Yeah. Obviously some pay-per-views are higher and UFC fights are much more, well, not much more, but they're usually more expensive. That's $49.99 isn't terrible, or $50 isn't terrible. And like Sammy said, putting it on Prime, it reaches a much wider audience than it does on Bleacher Report for sure. So, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, but now you can go on to the first match.
No, that was a good little notification. And like you said, hopefully this brings the numbers up. So like I would love to see the numbers of how many people watched this on Prime than on Bleacher Report. All right.
Sure.
So like I said, we have our first. Go.
There was one thing I wanted to say. Now I know ALW complains about AEW pay-per-views being too long, but I am not one of those people. I feel like if I'm paying $50, I want at least 3.5 hours to my pay-per-view if I'm spending $50 on it.
This is kind of true. It's kind of true, but it's like, I feel like, okay, $50 back in the day, that was from 8 to 11:30, and then the replay was at 12. So I'm like, that was only 3 hours and 30 minutes. I don't need I don't need anything over that. Like, yeah, from 8 to 11:30, 12 the replay. And, if you're like me, I still have a DVD recorder. I record the replay and have it forever.
Right. But, a solid 3.5 hour show. I have a problem with a 5-hour show. That I mean, and I'm not, because periodically they do have those. I'm not including necessarily even the kickoff shows. So,
well, yeah, I'm not. But I'm saying 3.5. That's my minimum. Like 4 is good. 3.5. That's my minimum.
Yeah, no. We're like, if it's $50, no one is saying 2 hours and 30 minutes. No one is saying that. But yeah, 3 hours and 30 to 4. Huh?
I might say that. Listen, here's the thing,
right? $50 for 2 hours and 30 minutes?
But here's the thing. Look, even if it's not about it is about the money, but it's about the quality of the show you're getting.
I don't
care if I spend, $50 and it's a 6-hour show. If 3 hours of it is terrible, that does me no good. Like, if you can only give me a good 2.5 hours, then just give me the good 2.5 hours. I don't need a bad 4-hour, 5-hour show, right? Like,
I,
so
I feel that. I absolutely agree with that. But also, AEW doesn't do that. Their pay per views are like always
Ah,
90% great.
that's
yeah.
very true. They do have a good track record of having very
No,
solid
no,
pay.
no, no, no. We're gonna backpedal that crap. No, it's not. No, it's
No,
not.
no, 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 no. They give
Right?
you 10 matches, 9 matches are good.
Yeah, okay, again, we're gonna backpedal that crap. Cause like let's go back to when it was just a freaking squash match between Ricochet and Will Hobb, or a squash match between Jay and freaking Athena. So let's backtrack. Let's back it up just a little bit. I'll give you maybe 80%, but 90%, no. That's a big number. No. 75% to 80%, they're good. But no, it's like 2 or 3 matches. It's like, why the freak are you on this freaking show?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that as a regular on a pay-per-view, I would say somewhere between 7 to 8 of the matches are usually solid. They probably have 2 to 3 that could be either cut or would be, need to be better or whatever the case may be. But
Yeah, there's
I mean, that's
occasionally
still
the match that's like, yeah, you could just put this on Dynamite. This is the Dynamite main event.
that's still a pretty good average, though. I mean, that's still a pretty decent number, right? I mean, when you think of
Mm-hmm. It is a good
in the
number.
history of wrestling, I mean, often you get shows with 6 matches and 3 are bad, right? So to have or even more than that, sometimes you get 6 matches and all 6 are bad. But I digress. But go ahead, Anika.
Right. Like I said, this is our first match of the night. We have the Don Callis family, which is Lance Archer and Brian Cage and Mark Davis, with the Lynn to own Brian Keith with you versus the conglomeration. Yeah, with the so the conglomeration of Osprey, because Osprey was in it, right? I believe Osprey was in it even for a little bit. Osprey, Mark Briscoe, OC, with the lending to own Powerhouse Hobbs. Now listen, I'm glad to see Mark Davis back on my screen. Like what they did with him and the Hurt Business, I did not like at all, because it really was like we just buried him for no reason. So I am very glad that he's back on my TV screen, actually doing what he does best. He was on Collision, but I love him on Dynamite. So I love them because I love seeing him back on television. This, of course, when you say certain people's name, it's like, oh yeah, this match won't suck. And basically, everyone in this match is good to decent to really good. And Osprey is one of the greatest of all time. So yeah, so we had this match. We're going back and forth. We're right, pound for pound, battle for battle. It ends with Osprey doing a blade cutter to Brian Keith. Understandable, because I guess out of all of those, I mean, you could have been Brian Cage, but I guess we're still doing. Side note, sorry, I'm all over the place. We're gonna land it home. Side note, I'm still kind of perplexed with what we're doing with the murder machines, because why? So why? Because I think we heard that we heard Outrunners beat them, and they're going to face the Hurt Business. And I think in all of our heads, okay, on Dynamite, but oh snap, y'all are doing it on Revolution. Okay, interesting. So I guess if you want to prolong that, sure, but I guess it is perplexing of why you didn't want to do that right now. So, but I guess you still want to keep them strong. So I guess that's why you didn't get the pin. But great match. We're gonna talk about the match when we come to after effects after your thoughts on the match.
Briscoe being back on Dynamite is great. I was happy to see that. Solid match. Will Ospreay is Will Ospreay. Everybody looks really good. I understand, especially because of the way that they're booked, why of the 8 men in the ring, Brian Keith is taking the pin. I don't like it. I want more. He's better than that. I don't know why Tony doesn't see that. Now, that being said, there's another guy in this match that's better than he gets too, and that's Brian Cage. Is there anything that dude cannot do in the ring? Like I mean, when you talk about like the antithesis of like the 5 moves of doom, you got to talk about a guy like Brian Cage. That dude does everything. Like his arsenal is so wide open, and he's so talented. And even I don't even think he's bad when he talks. Like, people are like, he can't talk. Disagree. I don't understand. Now there are some guys I get, but there are some guys that are a complete mystery, and he's one of those guys. He's had opportunities, and he gets a lot of, he seems to get a fair amount of time, and at the same time, never really over that hump. Like for me, he should be in that main event picture, wrestling with those other guys. Like he's got the look. He's a little short, but other than that, he's got the look. He can talk, in my opinion, and his in ring skills are just insane. Dude, the stuff he can do in the ring for his size is insane. So that being said, I thought the match was really good. I understand why Brian Keith takes the loss here. Will Ospreay always looks good with the hidden blade. That move looks cool. So great match. Mark Briscoe back on Dynamite. So all in all, a solid segment.
Yeah. No, like you said that about Brian Keith. It's a lot of people in this match. It's like, where did we go wrong? Why are they pushed better? Like I'm watching it now. Will Hobbs, the meaty man smacking, slapping meat. It was like please, can we run back? Kitty boy, can we run back Will Hobbs winning the TNT title? Because no, I don't care what anyone says. Freaking what? Oh boy, who was Cody Rhodes' friend? Quinn. What's his name? Start with a Q. QT Marshall.
Oh yeah.
Turning himself into his freaking title reign was stupid, and I punch you in the throat. But like, he was great in here. Lance Archer, I loved him in the first years of AEW. It's so many. Yeah, in this ring, it's so many missed opportunities. It feels like, and hopefully with everybody in this match, we can do better. Hopefully we can do better.
Sammy?
Fantastic match. Might have been the match of the night. I wonder, like, if WWE has any regrets about Lance Archer, because Lance Archer used to wrestle in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about who you like. Cause it's not, even though it's one person making the final decision, you have other people in your ear of, oh, is this dude really good or not? And sometimes if you have a person in your ear that's making the wrong decision a couple of times, bad or good, you gotta get them out your ear. Like, all right, this is like the third person you said sucked, and they're doing great. So you can't be in my ear anymore. You go train somebody. I'm not listening to you anymore. But yeah, all right. So, like I said, Ospreay got the win for his team with a Blade Runner. But come on, guys, it's the Don Callis family. You got to beat some people up. So they all beat Ospreay up, and rightfully so, because that is the main feud in this match. The Don Callis family versus Omega and Ospreay. Now, here comes interesting storytelling. Mark Davis is part of the Don Callis family. We don't really know why he joined, but he's with them as of right now. He doesn't want to really beat them. He doesn't really want to beat Ospreay up, but it's like, this is the job. So I'm gonna kick you. I'm gonna kick you a little bit. I'm gonna punch you. Here comes bad boy douchebag Kyle Fletcher coming out to join the party in the beatdown of Ospreay, and this is when things get turned up just a couple of notches, right? So he's doing his heel stick. He gets a chair. He wants Mark Davis to hit Ospreay, and Mark Davis like, "Come on, man, why me? And I don't want to do this." And so then Kyle starts yelling at his former teammate. I'm going to assume one of your good friends. You do what we tell you to do. Hit him with the chair. Like, dude, okay, fine. So he does it. He hits Ospreay with the chair. He rolls out the ring while the Don Callis family continues to beat them down. Unlike Sammy and KO, Ospreay didn't do anything to Mark Davis to warrant this abuse, to warrant an attack. So like there should be. This is more for me. It's more conflicting for Mark Davis than Sammy with freaking Roman, who didn't do nothing to you. You're in a gang. I just had to reiterate that. Sorry. So yeah. I'm not sure what we're doing with Mark Davis. I want him to get over. It really is a situation where it's like you got hurt and people had to move on because, hey, we're wrestlers. We can't stop because you were hurt. So, but I'm hoping that this works. I just need them to find a direction, though. It's like, okay, you have this conflicting emotions. Is he a heel or not? Is he going to be a babyface or not? More importantly, what's best for Mark Davis? As of right now, I think he should stay with the Don Callis family because him as the babyface, they really don't know what to do with. So, like, hopefully he'll stick to his guns and be like, all right, no, I'm fully with you, Kyle. We're gonna beat the crap out of Ospreay at Revolution. I think that's the best thing for him. But this was an interesting development either way. Thoughts?
I like
Aussie Open.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, right? Aussie Open was part of United Empire with Will Ospreay before, and so that's where that's where that conflict comes in for Mark Davis, because obviously the three of them were all boys before. So Mark Davis isn't like, and he's not Kyle Fletcher. He's not the one that has become insanely jealous of Will Ospreay because people, compared him to Will Ospreay and he's convinced he's better, right? Like that's not the story for Mark Davis. So Mark Davis is there, kind of unsure, like he's with the Callis family because his tag team partner, who was his tag team partner when he left in Aussie Open, is there. So that's naturally kind of where you go. At the same time, like Will Ospreay was one of his really good friends. They were in a faction together. So like, what do you really do? And I don't know that, I don't honestly, like, I'm not familiar enough with Mark Davis specifically to know where his, sweet spot is, whether that's babyface or heel. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
He's doing a decent job so far of just looking like stuck in the middle and not totally sure what to do. I thought that moment of hesitation where he didn't really want to hit Ospreay, but ultimately did, came off fine. And this is the attitude that unfortunately Kyle Fletcher should have at the moment. Like this is perfect
Yes.
for what he's been doing. This reaction to Mark Davis. Now you were gone. I don't need you really anymore. I'm now a star on my own, and you're gonna either listen to us or you're not. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I'm really the guy now. And so it makes perfect sense, and him treating Mark Davis like that is perfect. And I'm assuming that ultimately it results in Mark Davis probably leaving the Callis family and joining and helping Will Ospreay down the road. That's where it feels like the natural storyline leads, but who knows? At the same time, and I don't know one way or the other whether I want that or not. I'll see how it plays out. But I thought this came off really well. I thought everyone played their roles really well. And that brainbuster on the chair by Kyle Fletcher at the end looked really nasty. I still, even though they had already beat down the guys that Will Ospreay was in the match with, I kept thinking there still isn't somebody else to come help Ospreay. Like nobody's gonna. So okay, I guess it is what it is. But no, I thought it worked out well.
Sammy?
Wonderful. Like honestly, spectacular. Like the things that weren't even happening in the match, the wrestling, like might have been better than the wrestling itself, and the wrestling might have been match of the night. So I want to pour more praise on this, and I already am, but I don't want to,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not trying to overhype it, but I thought it was incredible.
We'll see what happens at Revolution. If Mark Davis officially joins Hill family Callis or goes back to his boy Ospreay. All right. So next we have a video package of Takeshita versus Omega. It'll be at Revolution for the International Championship. This you would think is an open and shut case, but Omega is kind of a giver when it comes to wrestling. So it might be like when Takeshita beat him twice a year or two ago. It was like that should have been so like, oh snap, he beat Omega, but somehow they lessened it. It really was like, how do you lessen him beating Omega? But like you feel like after I beat Omega, I get shot put it. I get skyrocketed to great things. Like I get a chance at the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. You know what I'm saying? But but like so like you said, but so I said they pointed that out that hey, they're actually Takeshita beat me twice. This is a good rivalry, but I'm here for international championships. This is going to be a very interesting match. I don't think it's an open and shut case like everyone thinks of Omega beating Takeshita. But what do you guys think about the promo and the match at Revolution?
For me, Kenny Omega is another one of those guys where I think to myself, I always wonder how you're going to beat him. And you know how that works because he's so good. The same feeling I have with Will Ospreay, like these guys are so good that how can they in reality actually lose? And the fact that he's lost twice to Takeshita 2 times in 1 week, I don't see. I'm not giving 0%, but I can't imagine there's any chance that Omega doesn't win this match. It. I mean, he has to win this match at this point. I mean, if you want him to continue or to regain that footing as one of your your face of AEW and the best wrestler on the planet, he's got to beat Takeshita at Revolution and win that title. I just don't think there's any other way around it. Takeshita's been a solid champion. Takeshita's future is extremely bright. His present is extremely bright. At the same time, he's not Kenny Omega. Omega is over in a way that a lot of guys are not. And he doesn't always need a title, but he needs to continue to win and look strong. And at this point, he's got to get the win against Takeshita to even though it'll still be 2-1, to somewhat feel like that's an even more evened up situation. He can't be down 3-0 to Takeshita. I just don't see that happening.
Sammy?
The last 3 and out I remember was Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins.
And I was here for that. Yes. Definitively beat this Joker. Yes. I don't feel the same about Omega though. I don't feel the same though.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's for me especially, there's a difference between Cody Rhodes and Kenny Omega. I mean, even when they were in the same company, there's just for me, there's a big difference. But I know that for a lot of people, it's either, the gap is a lot smaller or potentially it could lean the other way towards Cody Rhodes. I mean, I don't know. I know there are some diehard Cody Rhodes fans out there. I don't know how many people think he's either on the level of Kenny Omega or better. I hope there isn't a whole lot. Because
just to be clear, Cody won that trilogy. This is Kenny losing his trilogy. So opposite sides.
I love the Takeshita, but
absolutely,
and I love the Takeshita. I don't think I'll be mad if he does though. I love the Takeshita that much. I do.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wouldn't be mad. I'm not saying that I'm necessarily, I just think that in order to keep Kenny at that elite status, a third victory by Takeshita, and don't get me wrong, you could just have that person that has your number, and maybe it's for Omega, it's just Takeshita, and maybe that'll just be what it is. It just feels like a guy like Kenny Omega shouldn't be taking too many losses, especially not to the same person over and over and over again.
Facts. Yeah. Again, this Revolution card is probably the best they've had. It's only been 5 Revolutions, right? But this is up there. We're gonna see if they can execute. But this is definitely top 3 right now.
Yep, because this could be match of the night for sure. Easily could be match of the night.
Heck yeah. All right, and so now we have our second match of the night, and it's Yuta versus Adam Copeland. Yuta comes from the D writers. Pause. They come from the crowd and they go to the ring. I guess you don't want to get a step further. He came from outside of the cold into the arena, through the crowd to the ring, and was like, and then of course Adam Copeland. You think you know him? Bop, 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 bop. This was a decent, good match. Wrestling wise, when it comes to Adam Copeland, it doesn't suck. I just need someone to tell old boy, you don't have to go over 20 minutes. I feel like it loses. When Adam Copeland wrestles, it gets bad when he goes over 20 minutes. And no offense, sir, you're in your 40s, you have to push 50. You can't go a 30-minute match. And you don't have to. That's just my opinion. Like I said, this was a serviceable match, a very, very good match. Adam Copeland for the win. Yuta actually did really, Yuta came off really well. No matter what I say about Adam Copeland, he is a Hall of Famer. He is a veteran. He actually is a top guy. So for you to look good against Adam Copeland is actually a very good feather in your cap. And then, like I said, at the end of the match, Adam Copeland and Yuta are face to face. Adam Copeland just been basically concertoing everybody in the Riders, but with Yuta, he shakes his hand. He gets the mic and he says, "Look at this. This is what respect looks like." And it's like, oh, he actually showing you some respect. You don't get that a lot in your group. I'm sorry. So, and then here comes Moxley, and Moxley's like, "What the fuck, bro? You don't be shaking nobody's hand." He's usually, he's in Moxley mode where he's like, through violence, I'm teaching you. He's pushing you. He's shoving you, and you're like, "Oh, bro, stop. You know what? I don't like this no more." And he leaves the ring. Not sure if he's leaving the D Riders, but he left the ring. So Moxley is by himself. And I like that little turn of events where instead of concertoing Yuta, he's just like, "Listen, this is like I think you're better than this. I think you deserve more than what this group is giving you, and that's how I'm going to get you away from Moxley and for Moxley to be all by himself." Thoughts on the match and thoughts on the end?
Okay, I mean, Adam Copeland is what he is. I'm not a big fan of his wrestling. He's always been a better personality in promo than he was a wrestler, in my opinion. Wheeler Yuta's grown a lot over the years. Watching him has been fun. I think, him being with the BCC has done a lot for him. Not just the rub of being with those guys, but watching those guys work. And he's going to be, he's still fairly young, and he's going to be. I think his future is very bright. I'm a big Wheeler Yuta fan. He still needs to work a little bit on his talking, although it's gotten better. But his in-ring work has gotten tremendously better. This was a solid match for what it was. At the end, I guess I kind of understand to a certain extent. The mind games. That I suppose that. Marina and Claudio and Pac won't by default can't be manipulated with words, but maybe Yuta can, so that's why you don't concerto him. This is the way to actually get him to. But at the same time, like it feels kind of like it doesn't totally fit either. Like, really, you should have concertoed him too. Like, I mean, that's the reality of the situation. I understand why you didn't, and at the same time, I'm not sure I care for it. So it is what it is. And then post-match Moxley, and that's what you expect from Moxley. And the reality is that when you're a bully like that, you're gonna end up losing people, and he's gonna lose
When you
Yuta, and
teach through violence, he's not a bully.
Okay, whatever you say. When you're a bully like that,
coming from a dude who wanted Sammy to go back to KO, and KO kept freaking emotionally bullying Sammy. But this is bullying though. That was a different situation.
So eventually Wheeler's got to get tired of it, and we might have seen it, I guess, with his walking away. That's not the end of his time with the Death Riders, but I guess we'll see how it ultimately plays out. This now wouldn't surprise me. I don't necessarily think it's the best thing to do, but it wouldn't surprise me if somehow Wheeler Yuta cost Jon Moxley the title at Revolution.
So I like this segment because it does give a flip up. Yuta just left Moxley, right? I'm not sure if he left the group or not. Right. I don't know what I want. In my brain, I don't want Moxley to lose to Adam. I don't think that's the right call. I don't think that's the right call at all. Even though they had this moment, I don't think Yuta's ready to leave the Death Riders. So it is it really is like what? So how it really is like how are you going to play this off at Revolution? I'm very curious.
Sammy? Yeah, like they've built it up to where it would appear to be that way, but I don't think that's what they're going to do at all.
Yeah. And
I think we're just in the middle of the story right now.
Oh yeah, we're definitely in the middle of the story. And like I said, I don't think that Adam Copeland's winning. They have it to the point they did a good job where I don't know. I wouldn't put money on this match because it really is like it's up in the air. It's definitely up in the air on what they're going to do. Any more thoughts?
I think that we need like a heavy continuation of John Moxley. Like I think we need to have him be the champion until people start to get sick of him being the champion.
We'll talk about it now. So the number contendership is between Ricochet and Swerve. In my brain, I would much rather have Swerve versus Moxley than Ricochet versus Adam Copeland. That's just
Oh
me.
yeah.
I would much rather have Swerve versus Moxley. All right. All right. And so like I said, it leads to Moxley is kind of chasing you in the back. And and then Moxley is supposed to gas it. Fine, run away. And then here we come to the classic John Moxley promo where he's rambling in a very energetic motion and he's very enraged. He's like, you know what? Fine. You one-on-one, you got me. But this is very, very bad for you, Adam Copeland. I'm gonna beat you because I just want to. Not because I need you. I just want to beat you. And it's like, sir, you're crashing out right now. I'm not sure if I like it or I don't like it, but this was definitely happening. And so I'll see your Revolution. Any thoughts on this promo?
No, I mean classic Moxley, and it does its job. It shows how insane and over the top he is.
Exactly how insanely over the top he is. Okay, all right. Next up, we have a Outrunners vignette. This is when we realize that Outrunners versus the Hurt Syndicate is going to be on Revolution at Plano Dynamite. It's like, oh, okay, interesting. So we have it's Outrunners. So it's 80s old school, have the VHS looking filter on it. They're running, they're training, they're running through the park, they're getting ready for the biggest match of their lives. I have, like I said, talking about who's gonna face the Hurt Syndicate next. I am very surprised not surprised because the Outrunners suck. I feel like y'all kind of missed the boat. Where Outrunners were, it's been said by many a podcast, Outrunners were very much so over a couple of months ago, but you didn't do it, and now you want to do it now, and it's like they're not as over. I need someone to keep their finger on the pulse. I need like when they had the tag team, gauntlet casino battle royale. Yeah, the tag team casino gauntlet. They should have won. Before Private Party won the titles. They should have probably been one of the titles, but like that was months ago, and now you're trying to. I'm not even sure what you're trying to do here. In my head, you have it on pay-per-view, so you see something, but like you're kind of late. I think you should have just stuck to Hurt Syndicate versus the Murder Machines. But hey, here we are. This was a very, very fun vignette. This is the money I would put money. This is the match I would put money on. The Hurt Syndicate are definitely winning. Like I think there's there's no room for pause right here. But any thoughts on the vignette?
Vignette was go ahead.
It masterfully done. Like it hits all the factors for me. It made me hyped. It made me laugh. Like I'm looking forward to this, even though I fully believe that they're gonna lose. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. I thought the vignette was a lot of fun. The Outrunners are a ton of fun. I mean, I'm assuming they're doing this because they want to give, the Hurt Syndicate some time with the belt. And if they were in the Murder Machines right now, who knows? But so, even though they probably, I don't think they don't want to put the belts on the Outrunners, which is why they didn't do it before. But they like having them there and they're over with the crowd because they're fun and energetic. So they like having them in that spot to take the loss, look good and take the loss. So that's what's going to happen in Revolution, I'm sure.
All right. And so next up, we go back into the parking lot with MJF. And now Renee Paquette is in there in the interview. MJF like, sir, you're in the parking lot. What do you think is going to happen? He's like, well, classic Hangman. He's not here because he's a coward, sir. Okay. the dumber words were spoken. But he's like, but I'm just here to show everyone that Heyman is not who he says he is. He doesn't do what he says. And while MJF is rambling along, here comes the mini J-Mobile of the horn truck, darn near freaking running. Listen, you say, hey man, it's that man's word. Look like he said he was gonna run you over. He actually tried. he real life like he's gonna try. Hopefully, I'm hoping that y'all had this timed out. Y'all weren't just winging it. Cause it really was like, watch out! And so I was like, yeah. So Heyman gets out of the truck. He's basically stalking MJF. We get to the in the ring, and we see Heyman with someone who looks like MJF by the neck. Basically, what you call it? Dragging him to the ring, and all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, hold up, boo, that's not MJF. That's some dude. Listen, I didn't know that was MJF until MJF came behind him. So it's like, wait, hold up, what the freak? That being said, so MJF uses this to get the upper hand on Hangman. It's not 100% like, oh, he automatically superseded Hangman, but no, Hangman did fight back, but come on, it's MJF. MJF is a heel, so in heelish ways, he gets the upper hand. He has a ring on his finger. He blunts Hangman. He takes off his jacket, and the shirt reads, MJF did nothing wrong. Now, the core of this feud is that MJF doesn't get why people are behind Hangman when he's done such egregious things. And it's like, you get behind him and he's done bad things, you can't get behind me. It's like, sir, with Hangman, those things were circumstantial. We kind of get it. More so the whole burning someone's house down. It's like, hey, the dude was in my house with my baby. We're not condoning law breaking, but we understand what actions come after you're in my house talking to my baby, right? So like, no offense to MJF, but you haven't done anything where it's like, oh, justifiable. We get where you're coming from. We just get that you had a dark past and you're behind, you don't know how to do with your feelings, you emotional cripple. Sorry. Okay. So that's it. So MJF gets on the mic and he says, so again, like, so you condone what Hangman does. Let's see what you hypocrites do when I do this. He gives gas. He gives gasoline. He gets a lighter. He's trying to set Hangman on fire. Thankfully, a gaggle of security guards are like, no, this is a crime. This is homicide. And so, in a beautiful, funny, because this is just hilarious. Them like it feels like there's 100 more security guards than a normal brawl. They're dragging MJF out, and he's like, "No, I want to prove a point. Let me just prove my point. Let me just prove my point." And crazy MJF, crazy eyes and crazy hair, and that's the end of the check on Hangman. This was hilarious. Again, it's like, I'm pretty sure when Hangman burned Swerve's house down, I am pretty sure he made sure nobody was in the house. So I'm just burning property, not people. Do you see the contrast, MJF? Do you see the difference?
I did not realize LAX was there.
What are you talking about?
You said this is homicide.
I'm gonna punch you in your throat. But it's like, and then side note, no offense, but the only person who gets to burn people alive on AEW television is Eddie Kingston. You didn't let him do it in Anarchy in the Arena. No one does it. That's the rule. I've already pronounced it. By the Anarchy Q and the Niga. Only Eddie Kingston gets to burn people alive. But yeah, this was a great segment. It's not like this match needed to be hyped up anymore, but I loved it. Any thoughts on the segment?
I liked it. I mean, I thought it was fine. I mean, it was intense. It was a little over the top. it's doing what it's supposed to do, which is make this match feel, like it has more,
Stakes.
weight to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
more stakes, more weight to it, more meat on the bone, all those kinds of things. So, I mean, I'm excited. This match again, this card we said is very stacked. This match on paper could be one of the best matches of the night. Could be the best match of the night. So we'll just see how it all ends up playing out. But both men are extremely talented, and I'm extremely excited for the match. So
This episode of Dynamite feels like a fever dream because,
Mm.
like, Dynamite is like almost always great wrestling, great wrestling, great wrestling. This episode, they flipped it on its head and it's great story, great story, great story. Like, what happened?
Listen, when it comes to promoting when you're promoting a pay-per-view, I feel like you should do more story than you should do more story than you should do wrestling. Yes, you can hype up a pay-per-view with wrestling, but I feel like it's better done with promos or interviews or segments like this. That's just me.
yeah, I mean, it's such a fine line because especially on like a go home show, because on a go home show, the bulk of the show, if not all of it, should really be focused on the event that's coming up. But you can't have, especially if you've got 2 or 3 hours of programming, you can't just have promos and talking, right? And you're a wrestling show. So you've got to have some sort of wrestling. And if you don't have wrestling that has anything to do with the show that's coming up in 2 days or in a week, people are going to be like, well, the show only had X amount to do. It was a bad go home show because there was so much that didn't have to do with it. So then that means you have to include the wrestlers that are coming up in the show. And how do you do that? How do you get them in the ring without giving away too much leading up to the show that's coming up? So, I mean, it's a fine line. I mean, it's always interesting to see how that stuff plays out. And I don't have an answer for, when to do what, but it's just interesting to see that stuff. So
I think they did a great job. This segment, this show, they did a great job mixing the wrestling with the promos and vignettes.
I agree.
All right. One here, blah, blah, blah. And then we have the director of Queen of the Ring promoting the movie for coming out March 7th, which is, that was yesterday, is out now. And then Tony Storm joins the director. Side note, this director's dad directed Rocky. That's cool. Okay, fine. And so, like I said, Tony Stark comes out and it's like, yes, Mr. Director, I'm glad to see you again, Mr. Director. I saw the movie. What happened to my news scene? And so I love this director because he could have said, "Hey, you're back crack crazy," but no, let's play along tonight. He's like, "Sorry, darling, there was so many things I could cut out. It's a PG-13 film. It's part of my portfolio, and it's part of the cut. It's part of the cut rooming in my private stash." It's like, I love you. If you want to come back and do some things, you can do some things. Yeah. Sometimes you call Tony Storm
Dude
crazy.
passed passed the vibe check.
He passed the vibe check. Sometimes you can call, it really depends on what's needed. Sometimes you just call Tony Storm back crack crazy. And sometimes just play along. I love that he played along. He's like, Matt, darling, I'm sorry. It's PG-13. But don't worry, that scene is in my cutting room floor, my private little disposable case. So yeah, a nice little, as a company, if your wrestlers do something really big and prominent, you should be promoting whatever they're doing outside your, because that helps boost your company. So I'm happy they did this. Like, yes, we actually are in a movie. Let's promote the movie and in turn promote AEW. Any thoughts on?
Yeah, it's a complete 180 to how WWE used to do it, where like Batista would want to be in movies and stuff, and like WWE would go out of their way to prevent him from doing anything.
Which again is like, come on, that actually helps your company. I don't understand. I get schedule and timing, but it's like it's some kind of when it's Marvel, I think we could compromise on this situation.
yeah, I mean, I'm torn. First of all, let me make it very clear. I want to see the Tony Storm nude scene. So I don't know how I get my hands on that, but the nude scene that was cut, I want to see that. Other than that, I thought this was funny. Tony Storm is great. She's in her bag, as time as Tony Storm. It's definitely the best Tony Storm character, of her career. So, and this is fine. This is fun, and this is fine. What was I going to say? I had another thought, and now it escaped my mind. So we'll just move on. When I remember it, maybe I'll harken back to it. But for now, we can just move on.
And like
I mean, you can try, but I'm pretty sure the only thing that's going to be in everybody's minds right now is the Tony Storm nude scene.
I'm very glad that they did. I'm very glad this was another segment because I was kind of like, is this the only twice that we're getting? No, we're gonna interview. All right, cool, bet, solid. All right, cool. All right, and so now we get our women's match of the night. We get Thunder Rosa and Chris Statlander versus Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. This was good. We're gonna ignore what happened 2 weeks ago. We got the match. When in doubt, wrestle it out, and this is what they did. This was a great tag team match. I love the Megan Bayne and Chris Statlander face off because it's been a minute since Chris Statlander had someone who matches strength with her. Like we had, it's gonna be a little thorn in my side. We had Thunder Rosa, which is like, where is she again? She's nowhere to be found. Okay, fine, cool, whatever. Athena is on ROH, and of course, Jade went to WWE. So like, I'm very happy that Chris Statlander got someone to match pound for pound, bowls with her in this ring. Thunder Rosa is Thunder Rosa in the ring. She's going to be great. And of course, Penelope Ford did not look out of place. And I love that for her. Not going to say surprising, but all right. Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford gets the win with Megan Bayne's nice looking F5. And I'm pretty sure it's not going to be the end of this feud, but good match. Thoughts?
I actually wanted to state about that of like, is it better having two women's matches, or is it better to have one good women's match and then give the women like 4 backstage segments during the show? Because
So,
like, I felt like it balanced it out by having as many backstage women segments as we had.
So it depends. Like with AEW, I don't mind one women's match if there's a bunch of other women segments. That is just me. Like I really don't mind that. Now, if you offer me 2 good women's matches, I don't mind that either. So it really is a catch-22 on what you want to do, and more so, I guess the problem is you are. I don't think that AEW is like, okay, we're gonna hype it up with promos and have a good women's match because of the dirt. What you call it? Trying to work the show out. I think it's just a standard. I think it's just a standard for AEW of, okay, a couple of promos and then a women's match. Like if they do something different, we could argue this. We could argue this point. But I think this is just a standard for AEW, and that's kind of the problem. It's like let's get out of the box once or twice. Let's get out of the box once or twice. You do have enough women to have another women's match, but this was a great women's match. Any more thoughts?
I mean, I suppose Sammy's talking about having the Tony Storm and then the Mercedes segment because we only had 2 women's backstage segments that weren't wrestling segments. So we had 1 match and 2 segments in 2 hours. So we had 3 segments and they all came on top of each other. So they decided, oh, let's just go ahead and give the women like this little half-hour block, and that was all that they're really, I guess, that's all they deserve, I suppose, in Tony's mind. This feels like I thought this was fun. For me, and I say this, probably more often than people like to hear, I feel like one of these things is kind of not like the other. Penelope Ford feels a little over her head. I don't think she looked terrible here, but for me, she's the mid-card talent out of these 4. So Thunder Rosa has already been women's champion. We know how good she is. Chris Statlander deserves to be a women's champion at some point. And right now, it looks like Megan Bayne might be the better Chris Statlander. So I like Chris a lot, but she's a little bit more Chris than Chris is. I can't explain it. She looks a little bigger. She seems a little stronger. She's a little more like, I don't know. It feels to me like they have in Megan Bayne what they were hoping they had in Chris Statlander and maybe felt like they didn't at some point. And so now they have them, Megan Bayne. Megan Bayne looks really, really good. I'm extremely excited for her and her future in AEW. The match was fine. I thought the match itself was good. And for part of the women's segment, it's fine. I think the women still, when I think about and I understand at the moment you don't have the horses. I get it. You can kind of only do what you have the horses to do, but you have some you're not using. Like, unless she got injured again, where's Jamie Hayter been? Athena's, been and I understand she's world champion in Ring of Honor, but she's been relegated to Ring of Honor. I mean, there's no other way to really say that. I mean, people watch it, but you have to go to Honor Club to see it. It's not easily accessible. It's not the same as watching even Collision, let alone Dynamite. So you've relegated Athena to Ring of Honor. Like, Britt Baker was back from it. I don't know if she got injured again, but she's been gone again, MIA. Like, where are all these women? So I understand you don't have the horses. At the same time, when you think of like a show like NXT, where it's like 60 to 70% women over men, like, it's just insane to me to think that it's so much of a contrast on the other side. And it just shows how little at this point Tony Khan cares about women's wrestling. That doesn't take away from either of these three segments, and we'll talk about Mercedes being next. Being good, they were good. It's just you give them like a half hour altogether, and it is what it is. It feels to a certain extent like they're an afterthought most of the time. So,
all right, and so like you said, they did kind of.
I am a Penelope defender. I think she's great. I think she's underrated.
She needs more reps, and I am glad that she's in this feud because these are definitely the reps that she needs to get better. I see her going for the belt. I don't see her winning it, but I see her being the main event for the belt. I see that, but she definitely needs more. She needs more to get there, where it actually makes sense and people actually matter or care that she's going for the main belt. I will say that.
I think she would have made a great tag champion with the bunny, but AEW never made those.
We're not gonna go back. We're not gonna go back to those times where what woulda, coulda, shoulda. All right. We have Mercedes being interviewed with Renee backstage. This was very much so fun. Renee asked her about her title defense against Momo at Revolution, and of course Mercedes like. I loved it. I'm not gonna do it justice, but she was like, whatever they were, where were they? Whatever city, say hello to your CEO. And she's like, Momo, she wanted it, but I am not scared of Momo because why, Renee? And Renee was like, because she said one of Mercedes' catchphrases like, yes. And so Momo on Collision, let's go. I have Serena Deeb, the professor, the woman of 1,000 holds to help me break Momo for me before Revolution. And it's like, side note, Momo versus Serena Deeb, that should be really tasty. And so she was like, Momo's gonna find out what Renee is paid for you mess with Renee. Like, no, the other one. Money changes everything. like I love this segment with Renee and Mercedes, and I can't. And like I said, Momo versus Serena Deeb tonight on Collision should be very, very great. Any thoughts on the segment?
Serena and Momo should be fun, and Mercedes is definitely getting her feet, not getting necessarily out of them, but it feels like she's really starting to hit her stride in AEW.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, Sammy, any thoughts?
I think it's great. I mean, I have no negative thoughts.
Understandable, and I agree. All right, now we have Max Caster once again with I am the best wrestler alive. I'm going to have my challenger come out. It's going to be a complete surprise, and I'm going to show why I'm the best wrestler alive. And hit the music for Switchblade Jay White. I'm like, yeah, because I missed you, boo boo. More Jay White on Dynamite, and the crowd being so great. You effed up, and Matt Caster being the slimy heel he is. He gets out of he tried to get out of the ring, but it's like, no, sir, you want this open challenge match? We're getting this open challenge match, and once I don't want to say it wrong. Is this called swing? What is the feature called? Sling Blade?
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. One Blade Runner. 1, 2, 3, and match is over. And match is over. It's Jay White. So I can't be mad that Jay White gets this win. Me and AEW has a conversation of what are we doing? Why are we doing this so many times with Matt Caster? The first 3 times like okay, enjoyable, but now it's like, oh, what exactly is the what you call it? Is the plan here? I don't think they have a plan just yet. But before we get, but like I said, the match ends 1 Blade Runner, and Mac and Jay White gets on the mic. It basically hypes up Adam Copeland versus Moxley. He's in Adam Copeland's side. He's in his corner 100%. He's like, at Revolution, Copeland's gonna put Moxley in the ground, and so and so. Side note, I'm kind of mad that Jay White does not have a match at Revolution. We talked about this earlier. You don't want to. What's the word? Blow up the card. You don't want to inflate the card too much with meaningless matches. But I feel like Jay White within he's on TV enough where he should have got a card. It's like if I did love Adam Copeland being the Death Rider Hunter, but it would have been nice if we had gotten Claudio versus Jay White. I think that would have been cool. But like we did what we did, and it served its purpose in hyping up Copeland versus Moxley. I'm just like, yeah, what's the plan for Jay White? Cause I feel like y'all don't have a plan for Jay White, and I am very much so pissed off at that more than I am with Matt Caster not having the plan. But your thoughts on this segment?
Yeah, I mean Jay White looked good. I'm not talking about Max Caster anymore. I'm not talking about Max Caster.
Listen. Okay, here's the plan for Matt Caster. I'm not sure they're gonna do it, but I do like this. I feel like his final person. I'm as I'm thinking about it, I see how it's gonna go wrong, but whatever. I think his final person in the open challenge should be Anthony Bowens. Because crazy enough, even though Matt Caster is getting beat, he's on TV more than Anthony Bowens. And it's like, hold up, wait. I thought we all agreed that Anthony Bowens was the better wrestler. So how is Matt Caster getting all this TV time? It really is a weird dichotomy of y'all don't know what to do with certain people. So I'm hoping that they do that, where we finally get the match between Anthony Bowens and Max Caster, and we leave the open challenge to that. Sammy, any thoughts?
I mean, I dig Max Caster. I don't have anything against him. Jay White is like one of the top dudes, though.
He is. Yeah, like I said, I know you have a lot of riches in AEW, but you need a plan. And I'm talking about 3 months down the road. Let's do a month plan to see what happens to hype these people up. But like I said, hopefully they'll find something for both of these people to do. All right, now we have the sit-down interview with Toni Storm and Mariah May. And Renee put in that work this show, but I appreciate her. Every segment she was in, she contributed to it, and she did it, and she made it so much better. So, sorry, yeah. We have, like I said, we have it backstage. It feels like it's in a studio set. As soon as sweet Jesus. All right. You know what? Y'all talk. No, I'm fine. I'm sorry. Okay. Here we go. Yeah. As soon as Renee opens her mouth, Mariah May spits at Toni Storm's face. And Toni Storm on cue, it's nice to see that you still care. And Renee is me freaking out like, what the fuck is wrong with you, chick? And then Mariah May is delusional right now. Look what you made me do. I wasn't trying to do this. And Renee was like, you know what, crazy chick? No, we're not doing this on my interview. What are you talking about? What we make you do? This is your fault. You're the one who infiltrated Tony Storm becoming your mentor. You're the one who turned against her. You're the one who beat her for the title. So this is not what Tony Storm made you do. This is what you're doing in your own crazy world. I love Rebecca Cat because again, I don't know how y'all say, hey, to hype this match up, we're gonna spit in each other's face. And they're like, sure. And look, Tony Storm, God bless her. She didn't rub it off. She just sit there. I'm like, how are you not feeling it on your face? But okay. But Mariah May, she's on 10, she's on fire. She's like, she's like, look, we're going to end this at Revolution, and I'm getting my title back. And then listen, this was a good performance by Tony Storm. She's like, death is too much for you. I sentence you to a life of mediocrity. You will not become great. You just become mid. You will not ever get this championship ever again. You'll just have mediocre matches. And once your career's over, people are like, what happened to Mariah May? And that pissed Mariah May off. And so they do a face. And so no. Before I end it, and then Tony Storm was like, and then you're going to know what it's like when you try to go against God. And so they get up, they're all hyped, and Renee was just like, I just pray neither one of you get hurt. And on cue, both of them at the same time, pray for her. And so yeah, even though I can't stand the spitting, I don't think it's necessary. I don't know why people do it. This was a very, very good segment, and I think Tony Storm was the champ for me because I'm like, you sit there with that on your face, and your level of even though you're mad, I'm not. You don't faze me like that anymore. I'm the champ now. You're still the little old rookie that came to my camp, and you're gonna leave this feud as the same old rookie. As of right now, I feel like Mariah May has high hope, but in this situation, I'm timeless Tony Storm, and you're just a rookie. But yeah, so I did love this interview. Any thoughts?
I enjoyed it. I thought this was really good. Both women were in their bag. I like that Mariah May is basically unraveled, and that Tony Storm has caused it. I like that kind of not necessarily a twist, but I like that nuance to the story. And yeah, I mean, I I feel like they've been circling each other for a little too long, perhaps. But again, it is what it is. And hopefully this puts a bow on it. I'm hoping that this is kind of the end of it and that both of them, if not at least one of them, moves on to something else that's, substantial. So one of them will have the title, and hopefully whoever that is a champion. It seems to me that there's more meat on the bone with Tony Storm as champion than there is with Mariah May. We just recently, we've seen it both ways, but, we just had a Mariah May run that wasn't necessarily spectacular or whatever. It was a little underwhelming. Now, if they want to put the belt back on her here, that's fine as long as they have something more for her to do than they did the first time. If they don't, then leave it on Tony Storm. I think Tony Storm is a little more over. I think she's a little bit more able to carry the belt in such a way that it gives it more prestige. People like Mariah May, but they're not as familiar with her as they are with Tony Storm. There's not like that same. And so I think for some people, the jury's still a little out on Mariah May. And I'm not sure that, like I said, her kind of not awe-inspiring, that's not the right word, but her lack of a quality run the first time with the belt doesn't necessarily make me want her or anxious to have her have the belt a second time. So I think Tony Storm gets the win at Revolution, but this segment was really good. I mean, it did what it was supposed to do, and it hyped the match up more. So the spitting in the face is always nasty. And like you said, I don't know how someone doesn't wipe it off. Like, you can still wipe it off you can wipe it off and still sit there and be okay. Like I don't know how you just leave it on there, but I understand the purpose of doing it. It's like the most disrespectful thing you can do. So I get it in some regards. It makes sense, and it's one of those things that gets a big ooh from the crowd, a big ah from the crowd, right? So I understand why you do it. But yeah, it takes a particular kind of person to agree to letting yourself be spit in the face in the first place, and then a second one to sit there and not wipe it off. But and Tony Storm is brilliant. I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
promo work here is brilliant. The accent, the talk, all of it is amazing. I mean, the wordplay, all of it is great. So yeah, I got no complaints about this in any way, shape, or form. Other than this should be the end of Mariah May versus Tony Storm, at least for a
It
while
should. Yes.
Vince wiped it off when Bret Hart spit in his face.
now. Yeah.
Well, no,
Yep.
that was real life, and I think even though Vince is a crazy mean man, he kind of was like, okay, I'll give you that one because I'm basically screwing you. I'm basically screwing you over in this segment. It's not like
There wasn't any basically about it. He definitely was. It's called the screw job.
yeah, but you see, like that's actually real life. We're like, okay, I'll give you this one instead of, oh, we're gonna plan this, and how we get heat. I'm gonna let you spit in me. I'm like, no. It's like, I'm sorry, that's just me. All right. So
Well,
next,
I mean, if you ask Kevin Nash, he says it's all work.
Kevin Nash, baby, I need you to stop talking because you're not being big sexy emo. Okay. And now on to the main event. We have a tag team match, and it involves Swerve and Ricochet. I was not. Again, y'all need to help me out here because I'm not sure. Like, so it was a tag team match. It's Swerve and Brody King versus Ricochet and Okada. Listen, I am not complaining at all. I love all four people in this match. It's just a matter, like, but more so, these are very, very, very strange bedfellows. Like there is no relationship between Brody King and Swerve or Ricochet and Okada. So I would have loved if they're like, hey, this is how they became partners. This is how they chose each other to be in this match. Did I miss that, or did this is that? Hey, the tag team match? No, we just put these two together. Okay, fine.
I mean, it's one of those situations where Tony Khan says, okay, Swerve and Ricochet are wrestling at Revolution. Okada and Brody King are wrestling at Revolution. We got to get them on the show. Let's put them in a tag team match. We'll put the heels together and the faces together, and we'll have can they coexist? Not can they coexist because they're not wrestling each other, but just heel versus whatever faces for the sake of whatever. It's being that it's a go home show, right? So you want to get these four guys on the show at some point, and I guess this is the way to do it. No, it's very weird to me too.
I,
I don't like it
I
either.
I hear what y'all are saying. I hear the words that are coming out of your mouths, but like I really dug it. Like
Oh yeah,
I love Brody King. Ricochet is in his bag. Swerve is one of the top dudes in AEW. And then you got Okada, who like we're not the biggest fans of, but like we still like have respect for him. And
No,
like when he wants to bring it, he can bring it.
no, we love this. This was a great match. We have no bones. It's just a matter of,
no,
for me, can I get explanation?
yeah, just make it make sense. I mean, that's it.
Please.
Just at the same time, when we say that, I do feel like that implies that you really do need some sort of storyline, and then that drives me nuts too because not every single thing needs an actual storyline. I mean, I see this a million times, right? Like, not every single match has to have, we were best friends for 100 years, and you slept with my mom, and you smoked crack with my sister. Whatever the rundown is, right? Like, you don't have to have that. You can just we're all wrestlers. We're all competing. We all want to wrestle each other. This is our chance to get on the show. So yeah, I mean, let's do it. I mean, and to me, that's enough sometimes. So yeah, as much as part of me was like, why are these guys together? Ultimately, by the time it was over and done with the match itself, I thought to myself, it's fine. We just had heels versus faces, and it's fine. These are all guys that are going to be at Revolution, so it makes sense, and it is what it is.
Yeah. No, like I said, I don't need every match to have a storyline. But when it is this very strange bedfellows, it is like, can we get a little bit? Like, I chose him because he hits hard, and that's why I chose him. Like something that simple. Like you said,
You could give us something, yeah.
You can give us something. But like you said, as we digress, this match was great. Why would it not be great? Because this, yeah, very much so good. Strangely enough, we didn't get enough Swerve versus Okada, and it's like, are y'all trying to set this up? I like as a lot of matches that didn't happen. I would not mind if that happens at a premium live event or a pay per view. I love that people love Brody King. Bro, like people wanted to hit the high tag from Brody. I'm like, yes. This whole thing after Malachi Black left, it's like, okay, we're gonna push you people. It's like I'll see it when I believe it. I don't believe that Malachi Black was the reason you didn't push these people. So I need y'all to put the proof in the pudding now that he's gone, that you're actually gonna put the work in and actually make these people stars, make these people champions. Because Brody King, oh, he should definitely hold some. He's been that dude since he's been in AEW for me. So yeah, I want more for Brody King. All in all, the match ends because Ricochet actually gets the belt and hits Swerve with it. 1, 2, 3, Ricochet for the win. What does this mean about their match at Revolution? I don't know. Like I said again, comparatively, I would want Swerve versus Moxley more than I would want Ricochet versus Moxley, or Ricochet versus Adam Cole. So, but that doesn't mean that I'm 100% on Ricochet losing. But this is a very, very nice main event. Any thoughts?
I mean, I kind of vocalized it a little bit earlier. All 4 men are high quality wrestlers. This is one of those situations where I don't feel like there's somebody that's not like the other. All 4 of these men feel like they belong in this spot. I think Brody King gets overlooked a lot when it comes to these kind of main event spots, so I'm happy to see him there. For me, I'm not an Okada fan, so I hope that this is the time that they decide to take the belt off him and put it on Brody King, because I think he could benefit a lot from having the belt. That being said, I do worry, because I do feel like sometimes, when they put the belt, whatever belt it is, on the guy that I want to win or the girl that I want to win, because they haven't had an opportunity or they haven't whatever, and then they get that opportunity, it feels like a lot of times the follow-up in the title run is very underwhelming. So I worry about what they'll do with the belt if they put it in Brody King, and what they do with Brody King as a champion. If they can do it good and they do it, they give it the attention it deserves and let him, thrive with the belt, then I'm all here for it. If they're not going to let him wrestle a whole lot or do a whole lot with the belt, then you might as well just leave it on Okada. Even though I don't like Okada with the belt, it just doesn't make sense to put it on Brody King if you're not going to do anything with it. So that being said, I really hope that Brody King wins. Ricochet Swerve, I don't really care who gets the win. I'm just here for the match itself, because it should be insanely amazing. Again, here is, I don't want to, the chances are good that Brody King and Okada is not the match of the night, but I do think it's not necessarily just hyperbole to say that all 4 men in these 2 matches also have the potential on paper to steal the show. I mean, definitely Swerve. I mean, that's going to be, that's going to be close to the main event. I mean, it's going to be at the later end of the show, right? So that definitely has an opportunity of stealing the show. And, if it's done right, I mean, Okada is Okada, right? And he's a megastar. And if he has a really, really solid match with Brody King, you could be talking the next day about that match stealing the show. So, we've talked about it. That just shows you how stacked Revolution is, right? Because we've just talked at length about how multiple matches that we went over that are going to be taking place at Revolution could be match of the night. So, no, I mean, again, you can't go wrong here. This feels like a Dynamite main event should feel like, where sometimes we have matches that we're like, oh, that's not totally what a Dynamite main event should feel like. This felt like a Dynamite main event.
On that note, this felt like a go-home show.
Mm-hmm.
It did. Yeah.
Yeah.
It most definitely did.
Yeah. No, for as critical as we are about go-home shows, this I thought filled the bill. Normally they leave us a little lacking. Both me and Anika are often critical of go-home shows, but I thought they did this one out of the park. So
All right, that was the end of AEW Dynamite from March 5th. What are your grades?
The only down part for me of this show is the part I'm refusing to talk about. And even then you get to see Jay White, so it is what it is. Let me say this. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the Crossroads, Blade Runner, modified, Sister Abigail, which is a modified version of those moves. But the person doing them cannot take as long as they do to hit that move. The holding of the person in that position before you actually turn them over and do them when they're not incapacitated or at least stunned is completely unrealistic. That has to be resolved. Other than that, I thought the show was an A show.
I feel like I give a bit more leeway if you're like a creepy character and you gotta like do your little face, whatever. Like when Bo Dallas is doing it, Uncle Howdy, or whenever Alexa Bliss is doing it. I give a little more leeway of like, okay, you gotta like, make your creepy face or whatever.
I have no problem with that, and I give a ton of leeway as long as the person is incapacitated or stunned. But when they're fresh, they came into the ring, and that's the very first thing you do to them. And they came in fired up, and all you do is hit them with that move, and you hold them in that position for 5 seconds before you hit it. It's like no one's going to just sit there and be like, "Oh, okay, just hold me here." Well, they're full of energy. Yes, when they can't fight back, it makes 100% perfect sense, and it's a solid move. I have no problem with it. It's just when it's the same thing with the roll up, like. If you kick the guy in the balls, you kick him in the stomach, you hit him somehow, you do something to justify that then you have him a little off his game at the moment to roll him up, that's fine. When the guy is at the peak of his, I'm coming back, I'm rallying back, and you grab him, small package roll up, and it's over, it's like, that doesn't work. That's not real. That you're trying to, the goal is to somewhat make this look real, and those moments aren't real. They don't come off real like that. So, again, I have no problem with that. I just have a problem with it when it doesn't make sense because the person has too much energy to be just held in that position for 5 minutes while Alexa Bliss kisses her forehead. Like, do the move already. Like,
too much long. Alexa, out of everybody, Alexa Bliss takes too freaking long to hit her freaking Blade Runner or Sister Abigail. It's like, ma'am, hit the freaking thing.
and again, if the person is incapacitated, the woman was, knocked out or whatever, and you're holding her there, take your time, give her a kiss. But like she did it 2 weeks ago, where it was the only move she did to somebody. Like they ran into the ring, all she did was grab him, put him in there, hold him, look at him, kiss him, and it's like the woman just ran down at full speed to the ring, full of energy, and now all of a sudden, you're not strong enough to hold her there. You're not guillotining her. You're just holding her in a rough little position, and she's not doing anything. It just doesn't make sense in that situation. So just make it make sense. Make it, your goal is for this to look real and for us to not call it fake. So make it look real. You know what I mean? Make it make sense in that regard. So, but
it works well if it's, after a long match where like the person's exhausted. That absolutely works. And
100%.
like for situations like that, you need a move that's like a hit out of nowhere. And like if you hold them for 5 seconds, it's not out of nowhere. It had a 5-second lead up for them to break out.
Exactly. No, that's what makes like the RKO so special when it happens, right? Because it's out of nowhere. It's like that's one of those moves you can hit. No one's expecting it. I mean, well, now you can predict it because it's Orton. He's done it so many times, but like you can see it kind of coming. But it's one of those things. It's unpredictable to a certain extent, and out of nowhere.
How about the trick shot?
Yeah, even the trick shot. There's a lot of moves. I mean, there's a fair amount of moves that are like that. And then there's other moves that take a long time to develop. I mean, as much as I like the one-winged angel, it's not the easiest move to get the guy up on your shoulders, switch the leg over, grab the head, hold, you know what I mean? Like, you've got to have that guy. That guy's got to be somewhat incapacitated or at least extremely tired for it to really make sense. You can't hit that on a fresh guy because it takes time to do all that stuff, right? So the fresh guy's going to start punching you on the top of the head before you even get his leg over and your hand up to even try to execute it. So, like, it's all relative, right? But just make it make sense as far as this is the reason why this person is now susceptible to that move. And a lot of times that leaves me lacking. But again, I'm hypercritical and I'm a hater, so it is what it is.
All right. Okay. Grades on the show.
Yeah, I give it an A.
Sammy.
Yeah, I give it an A too.
Yeah, it's a clean sweep. This was an A. There is nothing egregious about this show. There is nothing to be like, oh, why y'all do this? This was a very enjoyable 2 hours. And like you said, AEW, a great go home show for AEW Revolution. So excited about the review, and hopefully they don't mess it up.
All right.
All right.
So, yes. So, that being said, please do join us tomorrow night for our AEW Revolution watch along. We will do some house cleaning and then we'll get out of here. Make sure and join us every Tuesday night for the cookout, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 Eastern, where we all come together and talk about what's cooking up in the world of professional wrestling. On Friday nights, we have Friday Night Fights, where Tanika and Sammy Joe watching SmackDown starting at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, watching the show in real time, giving you the real time reactions and opinions to the show. Saturday mornings, which you're here with us now for, the Winner's Circle is 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. We review Raw, NXT, and Dynamite, grade each show, and the show with the highest grade is our weekly winners. So this week it was AEW Dynamite, a decent margin. But Raw was solid. NXT was down a little bit this week. I think we all kind of agreed on that. Um, yeah, so make sure and continue to join us on Saturday mornings for that. Saturday nights, I don't want to say too much, but we may be doing something different long term for than having a collision watch along on Saturday nights. But in the meantime, you will get the rundown. There won't be a collision watch along tonight because we're doing Revolution tomorrow, but there will be a rundown maybe tomorrow or some point during the week where it will be myself and CM. She'll be reviewing Collision, and I'm going to review Evolve because I want to review Evolve. So that will be added to the rundown. So. And then on Sunday mornings, coming back soon, anytime I hope. Uh, we'll be Enter the Squared Circle, myself and Sammy Joe, battling out in some sort of video game. Usually eight o'clock Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. Sorry, I don't know why I couldn't get that out on Sundays. So when that comes back, make sure and check that out. If you want to, you can scan this QR code. Where did it go? Trying to find it. Sorry, it's under there. You can scan that QR code. That QR code will take you to Linktree, and from Linktree you can get to all of our social media. So everywhere that we're on social media, you can see all the places up there on the screen where we are at. So make sure and scan that QR code. Check us out. We love to interact with you guys anywhere on social media. You can also check out the audio version of the Cookout podcast on these podcast locations. So if you don't have time to sit and watch the Cookout on Tuesday nights, either live or later, you can always listen to it later. So make sure and check that out. Unless there's anything else you want to say, just make sure and join us tomorrow night for Revolution. What do you guys want to say? Oh, there's a kitty. Kitty Joe.
Hi, Kitty
Joe
Joe.
making an appearance.
You did so good today.
All right, with that, we're going to cut the lights, like Laura says, and peace.
Bye.
What happened?
Keep
Okay.
dancing.
What is my...
Keep dancing.